the fellas already have to look to the bright lights of Thursday night football just 3 short days from now. You, of course, can listen to our coverage all week long leading up to Thursday and, of course, listen along right here on Sactown Sports. We're lacing up more football for your Monday night as the Steelers host the Browns tonight with our pregame coverage dumping off at 4:30 and kickoff slated for 5:15 right here on Sactown Sports. I'm Simone. Those are your headlines. Now back to more Sactown Sports.
The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sactown Sports.
Yeah, our big fat football Monday continues here on Sactown Sports. Whitey Gleason, Gary Sharp taking you up to Monday Night Football kickoff. And Gary, I know there are different types of quarterbacks. You know, there's the gunslingers, there's the game managers. I think that also applies to Monday morning quarterbacks. There are game manager Monday morning quarterbacks. I think I tend to be one of those. And there are guys that take the shots downfield. Which of those are you when it comes to being a Monday morning quarterback?
I am going for the shot downfield. By the way, I've been waiting all weekend to do the show with you.
Well, why is that? You just don't have much going on, or
a little bit of that. You know, I got a boring stretch here, but I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I'm a longtime fan from afar. We met briefly in person.
That's right.
You're a legend. You take your kid to the A's Padres game over the weekend, and be still my heart as a baseball guy who my dad worked for 30 plus years in the New York Mets organization. You teaching your kids how to keep score, my gosh, father of the year.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I know you're a baseball guy, and I know this is a big football show, so we won't talk about the Cubs. I believe you're – I'll just leave that there. That's my first gift to you on this Monday. We won't talk about – I think he's a Cubs fan.
Hey, this is what I'm going to tie in. It's not just me and the Cubs. It's the whole city of Chicago. The Bears are awful. The White Sox have completely fallen apart. The Bulls aren't going to do anything in the East. And the Cubs are just holding up their end of the bargain. Plus, you got Northwestern, Illinois. Yeah, it's just Chicago sports is a dumpster fire. But let's talk about something else.
Can I just ask you real quick before we totally leave the topic of Chicago? No, seriously. The Bears with the uniforms they broke out yesterday, and I think we've seen those before. I wanted to like them, and I just I'm sorry, I hate them. The all orange? Is it just me?
No, and there's nothing wrong with your TV. That's a bad color.
Yeah.
Like, why do teams do this? Like last night, the Patriots in the uniforms they wore, that is a clean, crisp looking old school uniform. The Chargers, it doesn't make a difference what's going on. Staley still coaches the team in that powder blue. But those uniforms are like, hello, Chris. Those uniforms are fantastic. And you're right. The Bears have one like a classic traditional uniform, and they mess it up. So they deserve all the fate that they get being 0-2 and looking like a complete dumpster fire where we're comparing them to Houston and Arizona after 2 weeks.
Yeah. I remember, I think it was 2010, might have been 2000. I think all the original AFL teams, now, those are AFC teams mostly, every time they played each other, they would wear throwbacks. So I was a little disappointed last night. New England came through, but Miami wearing their more modernized uniforms, which are fine. But I always liked when the AFL teams played and they wore the throwbacks. That being what it is here, Gary, what were some of your gut reactions to week 2 of the NFL season yesterday? For the 49ers, I thought, kind of an underwhelming win, but a win where they made just enough plays on both sides of the ball. And they're a much better team than the Rams, so that was enough to carry the day yesterday.
Yeah, isn't the most important thing is they're 2-0?
Yeah, I think so.
I know we like to give grades because that's what we do. We never went into teaching, and for the sake of the youth of America, it's probably good that Whitey and Gary didn't go into teaching. But we like to give grades. So if you're looking at that game, you probably get a first half grade and a second half grade. The most important thing is they're 2-0, and they can play much better. I think there's the 3 teams that we kind of thought of in the NFC are right there after 2 weeks: Philadelphia, Dallas, and the Niners. So they can play better. And I mean, that game could have gone sideways, but they found a way to win. And at the end of the day, I think with this Niners team, when it's Brock Purdy that's the Brock Purdy. I think it's they won. That's enough to take away is they won. They're 2-0. They got a short week. They're coming home. And now Barkley has been ruled out with an ordinary ankle sprain, which to you and I, which I would consider us NARPs, non-athletic retired people, we are very much like Barkley. We've all had ordinary ankle
Sure.
sprains. He doesn't have the dreaded high ankle sprain.
High ankle sprain. Those are nasty. Yeah, those are nasty. The 49ers, sure, 2-0 here. I never felt really at any point watching the game like they were in jeopardy. I know it was tight, and I know Matt Stafford started out and he was beating the 49er pass rush by getting the ball out. The Rams at times played very well, did a lot of nice things. But me personally, Gary, I never felt like, this game is about to tilt in the Rams' favor.
No, but let's give the Rams a little bit of credit here.
Yes.
You know, they were playing a home game, which was actually a road game with all the faithful. They're down at SoFi. I think the Rams might be a little bit better than we thought. I mean, I was thinking they're tanking for Caleb, and they're going to win 5-6 games, or maybe even worse, because I was looking at a rookie-led roster. They might actually be a little bit better, but you're right. I never felt, even when it was 17-10 and Shanahan at the end of the first half went through the quarterback sneak with Purdy, I never thought, oh man, Steve Wilkes is just having a bad day. They're going to be in trouble. I always felt they had better players. And at the end of the day, that was probably kind of the blueprint for the Niners to win a game where they don't bring their A game, is their stars in the fourth quarter take over and they make plays because they have more than the other team, and you win a game, and that's all that matters in the NFL.
Do you prefer, do you prefer tanking for the Trojan or caving for Caleb? Or is there perhaps an additional term?
For all the Bears fans out there that are watching film of Caleb Williams today, I like tanking for the Trojan.
Yeah.
They're just somehow that rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, Matt Stafford was very good yesterday, though.
Yeah, you know what? He was, again, when he's healthy, he's good. And all of a sudden they found a rookie wide receiver that everybody in the fantasy world is trying to add to their roster after week number 1. And then you get denied because you don't have enough waiver power. No, I think the Rams are better. But you know, one of the constant things, Whitey, about when the Niners and the Rams play, Aaron Donald is going to Canton. He's one of the best defensive players in the NFL in a long time. But he doesn't do that against the Niners. I think that's pretty amazing what Shanahan can do. And I think that was a positive sign yesterday in a game that wasn't overwhelmingly warming the cockles. Is that offensive line on his side, which they got exploited against TJ Watt? I thought they were really good.
Can we make sure that's the last reference to your cockles today? And, I know we don't know each other that well. And it was appropriate. It was fine.
True. I should have waited until the second hour.
It worked, but let's just not push our luck there. Another thing that jumped out to me yesterday, looking at the NFC and where the 49ers fit into everything, Chris Watkins, I know I was on with him Friday, and he said, Seahawks are going to beat the Lions. And I thought, there's no way. And yet here we are, the Seahawks, who look terrible week 1 against the Rams. And I know that's kind of the nature of the NFL these days. But how about that? The Lions, everyone's darlings, getting punked at home by the Seahawks. I did not see that one coming.
Yeah, and especially after the opener against Kansas City. I don't know. There was part of that game that was so Lions. Like they blew it.
Yep.
And there was a holding call at the end. I thought the refs had a bad weekend, by the way, but I'm not here to bang on the stripes. But I thought Seattle needed a game and they got to win. But I think that the division is still the Niners. Arizona is awful, and especially after yesterday blowing against the Giants. I think through 2 weeks, the NFC West is kind of what we thought, but I think maybe a little bit the Rams are just a tiny bit better than I thought they would be at the beginning of the season.
Dallas Cowboys look like the 49ers chief competition. Okay, I know the Eagles, can't overlook the Eagles. They're 2-0, kind of as what you said when we opened about the 49ers. Yeah, they won. That's the important thing. And the Eagles really have had 2 games like that. There's also this about the 49ers. The 49ers were just focused this year in getting off to a good start, because the last 2 years they really haven't, and that's come back to bite them in the postseason. But 2-0 is not a good start to make, because 2 years ago they started the season 2-0 and they ended up losing their next 4. So 2-0 is fine, but they still got some pizza left in the box here when it comes to getting off to a quote unquote good start. Although you got to like their chances Thursday.
Are you going to slap my hand if I say they'll be 4-0 playing week 5 against Dallas?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay. Well, let's do that. They're going to be 4-0 playing week 5 against Dallas.
They better be, right?
Yeah. Well, Dallas has, that defense is pretty good. I don't know. Do we do the transitive properly and try and figure out teams after 2 weeks and, what the Giants are and what the Jets were coming off of? I think we know for sure Dallas's defense is really, really good, and that will carry them a ways. And then it all comes back to who's the quarterback. That's essentially the Niners. Can they get Bosa up to speed and him back on the ground and play like Bosa? And then it comes down to Brock Purdy. Doesn't that come down with the Cowboys? They're great defensively. They got Micah Parsons. And then it just comes down to Dak when it's go time in January and February.
You know, it's kind of interesting. Kyle Shanahan talked about how they need to get Elijah Mitchell into the rotation a little bit because there's so much McCaffrey, and McCaffrey is phenomenal. And I know some people, we sit there and hum, why don't they play the other guy more? But even Kyle Shanahan said, yeah, we definitely got to get Elijah in there more and do better with our rotation than we did yesterday. That wasn't the plan going in, but it just ended up that way. And I got to make sure that doesn't happen, especially on a short week. Do you think if you're the 49ers, the whole short week factor is a concern?
Maybe not a concern. I think, and McCaffrey is on pace like we all thought, because I heard your predictions back in June and July that he would run for 2,278 yards, which he is currently on pace for. But he played. I mean, and if you hit that,
bingo.
You can flex all you want. But he played all 57 snaps. Now, I don't know. Do you think it's a trust thing?
Yes.
Or is it just
with Kyle? Yes.
Or do you think it's just we have Christian McCaffrey, and if we have him, let's use him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's both. I think you're right. Anybody who's watched the 49ers for many years knows that Kyle has, he has, on the one hand, he thinks this is what I should do. But on the other hand, but I trust this. This is what this guy can do, what I know needs to be done. So I'm going to let him do it. Jimmy just threw an interception. We're not throwing the ball anymore. So it's interesting. Can't blame him, though. That's one of the things that makes him a good coach.
Okay, on that note, and I know we're up against it here, but
we're good. We're good.
Think about so the whole trust thing.
Yeah.
And Kyle Shanahan is big on that. Did you get a sense yesterday, just for a brief bit, because Purdy missed on some deep throws, and that's still going to be a Brock Purdy thing. But once he didn't hit those 3 big throws, like Ayuk had open, he had Samuel in the middle that he wasn't able to connect, that all of a sudden Shanahan went Jimmy G on you, and he wasn't trusting Brock to stretch the field, so they scaled things back?
No, it was a little different. I understand where you're going, but with Jimmy, and this famously was the year they went to the Super Bowl, and they're playing the Vikings, and he threw either an interception or a ball that should have been picked, and then it was like they stopped throwing. They ran the ball for the next game and a half. So this was a little different. It's not like they didn't want Brock to throw. I think it was more like disappointment, like you got to, that's the way the 49er offense is, and so many teams run the system now. This sets up this, sets up this, sets up this, and then when you get the shot, you got to hit on it, which he wasn't able to do yesterday. So it wasn't like, he can't throw anymore, because that's the one great thing about Brock. Even though the game yesterday was kind of so-so for him, he still hasn't thrown an interception. If he starts throwing the ball all over the place, then you're going to see Kyle dial things back, because that's the cardinal sin if you're playing quarterback for Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, I know this is a discussion here on Sactown Sports, and everybody from 6A to 6P breaks this down. It just, isn't it, when you step back after you're 2-0, and I know quarterback wins are not a stat. If they were, look at who the 0-2 quarterbacks are compared to the 2-0 quarterbacks. Is the standard for Brock Purdy, and I may be off, and this is from me being the left field guy coming into home plate, is don't the goalposts move on Brock Purdy and how we judge him and what the standard is from him almost week to week?
I think so. And let's take a break and set that up. It's a great point you raised, Gary. Was that the guy all the haters say Brock Purdy really is? We get into that next. Gleason and Sharp with you today. Sactown Sports. We're right back.
Has Monty put together a roster that can help make a deep playoff run this season?
Just trying to give coach options, give him guys that can help us win in a variety of areas. Obviously, our top guys are going to play every game, but there's going to be other times, whether it's injuries, matchups, we've got to have some variety on the bench for coach to point to and say, go in there and help us win.
Tune into every Kings game this season
on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing.
But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish.
Sounds easy.
It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Uma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Uma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 50 features.
Uma?
Yep, switching to Uma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Uma.
Now you're feeling it. Find small business calm at ooma.com/radio. That's OOMA.com/radio.
Your new home for 49ers football in the 916, Sactown Sports.
Coming to you via the Folsom Lake Honda. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Whitey Gleason, Gary Sharp with you. And Gary, yesterday the 49ers get the win, of course. Brock Purdy was, he was Brock steady, 17 of 25, 206, no picks, no touches, ran for a score. And it was pretty clearly the type of game that I think some people say, see, that's all he can do. He's not that good. Actually, he wasn't bad. He just wasn't great. And the thing that stands out is, as you mentioned, he had 3 deep shots that he missed on, one to Jennings, one to Ayuk, one to Debo. And that brought back for 49er fans kind of those unpleasant memories of Jimmy G overthrowing Emmanuel Sanders in the Super Bowl. So was the guy that we saw yesterday, was that the guy that the haters say, see, that's all he can do?
You know, yes, they do that because, again, I think the goalposts move with him. You know, the most important thing is you win and you move on. And I know there's going to come a point where Brock Purdy is going to have to win a football game for you because McCaffrey has been contained or that defense has all of a sudden got leaky. But they're putting up 30-plus points a game. I mean, they're putting up a big crooked number. And you factor in the defense, I mean, that's a winning formula. He's 2-0. He hasn't had a turnover. He's got 67% completion, 426 yards. You know he can play better than he did yesterday. I don't know. It's just a strange – I don't know where we get to the finish line with him and we don't move the goalpost. Maybe that is in Vegas in February at the Super Bowl. But it's just odd how he has approached either locally or nationally compared to some of these other quarterbacks. Whitey, you started off talking about the Bears problem. I don't think there's anybody this morning and this afternoon that's saying, hey, I would take Justin Fields over Brock Purdy. And look at they were drafted in different spots. You would take Purdy over Pickett. I mean, that thing that I get a headache with the discussion about Brock Purdy and the goalpost moving because he wasn't great yesterday. But as you mentioned, he didn't turn the ball over.
Right.
And
huge.
And they found a way to win a football game. And the most important thing is they're 2-0.
Mm-hmm. You're right. I do think, though, there are some people still around here who would say, oh, they could have had Fields. They should have taken Fields. And I think
they could have had Mac Jones.
Yes, I know.
Thankfully.
Yes. There are still a lot of people that look at Brock Purdy and don't think he's enough of a playmaker to win a Super Bowl. That's not necessarily what you have to do in this system. And besides, I think he's more of a playmaker than he gets credit for, but there's no way around it. Yesterday, missing those 3 deep shots, and he knows it and he said it. But that has to improve. It really makes it harder to win a Super Bowl if you're going to set up those deep shots and the quarterback can't deliver. And I know there's this school of thought that, well, he overthrew him, so that's great because he's coming off of the elbow procedure. But still, no, it doesn't really matter. Underthrow, overthrow. You have to hit on those. And missing 3 of them, it's disappointing. Doesn't mean that, he's terrible like people say, but that's disappointing.
Yeah. So do you cringe with the phrase game manager as a quarterback?
I think that if that phrase existed in the early 80s, I think some people would have said Joe Montana was a game manager. I really do.
Oh, that's a great point.
And I think that would have been ridiculous. And speaking of that, that's way back when, I know, but Dan Marino he had a more dynamic arm than Joe Montana. He threw for more yards, more touchdowns, but who was a better quarterback? And I think of a lot here because I think it's the same type of thing now. People look at Brock and they look at his numbers and his arm strength and just look at, I'm not saying he's Joe Montana, but Joe Montana didn't have those things. And he was a pretty great quarterback, one of the greatest of all time. So what is it we really want from the quarterback?
Yeah, that's, like everybody designs a roster a little bit differently. I look at Kansas City. Their roster is designed around Patrick Mahomes, who just got paid, by the way.
Yeah.
A lot of money. Between 20 and 23, Mahomes made $65 million. Whitey, Lamar Jackson in 23 made $80 million. So finally, Pat's getting to go to the bank.
Yes,
and I feel bad for him because he's really been underpaid and he hasn't made a lot of money.
Getting that Gary Sharp money today. Yeah.
You know my agent. But it's how you design around a quarterback. Like if the Niners are smart in their development around Brock Purdy. They didn't bring Brock Purdy in to lift the roster up. They have a roster that can lift Brock Purdy up. And I think you have to, at some point, if you haven't already, accept that. That's the way the Niners are going to be successful. Yeah, there's going to be times he doesn't throw the ball downfield. He doesn't connect with an Ayuk, a Samuel, or a Jennings yesterday. And instead of scoring 30, you could have scored 40. But I'm big on you win in the NFL. It's hard. We don't, in all of sports, we don't appreciate how hard it is to win. There's my parental PSA of the day.
Thank you. You mentioned earlier the quarterback win stat, and as you said, it's not a stat. Depending on which numbers you look at, some still consider that a stat. Is that significant? That's the thing that, as you know, the Jimmy G backers, and I was for the most part a Jimmy G backer, but that'd be the first thing they'd point to is his quarterback win-loss record. So, how relevant do you think that is, big picture?
I don't know. Like jokingly here. Look at the 2-0 teams and their quarterbacks compared to the 0-2 teams. There are some what we think of really, really good quarterbacks like a Herbert and a Burrow are 0-2. It does matter. You don't get paid on the quarterback stat. You get paid by how many rings are on your finger. But in this case, I think it's important for Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy's 10-0.
Yeah,
that at some point you do have to give some.
It means something.
I'm not saying you, but other people have to at least give some credence that the guy is 10-0. He doesn't have on that right column. There isn't a scratch or anything. There is a 0 there.
Yeah. I know. Even in baseball, and I know we've talked too much baseball. Even in baseball, wins for a pitcher don't mean as much as they used to mean. Yeah. So how can wins
for Bill James?
Yeah. So how can it really be that important for a quarterback? It's not the be-all, end-all, but yeah, it's significant. Here's my thing on Brock Purdy, and I've said this before. I apologize to those who've heard me, and I don't mean to be redundant, but I look at guys like Mahomes. Nothing against Mahomes is maybe the greatest ever, but he's more like the movie The Right Stuff.
Yes,
he's more like Chuck Yeager, pilot, daring, dashing, brave, taking chances, able to do incredible things. Yeah. Whereas Brock Purdy's more of an astronaut. Now, not everybody can be an astronaut. But an astronaut's in there, and he's not really a pilot. But you know what? He better know which button to press, and he better press it at the right time. And in this system, you don't need a fighter pilot. You need an astronaut. But astronauts have to be smart and sharp, and they have to know what they're doing, and they have to do it on time. And that's what Brock Purdy is.
Yeah. Ed Harris is on line 1 for you.
You're not buying that?
No. I think that's a great analogy. I think that is perfect. That to describe like a Mahomes to a Purdy or some of those quarterbacks that are near the Mahomes tier compared to Purdy, it just, again, back to, it's almost exhausting to have a conversation about Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
We do that for a living, but I don't know. You can't have like a normal conversation about it because everybody is going to start going, well, I go back to their 2-0 and I'll listen to your, but I'm going to tell you, he's 2-0. And I know that he can be better. There's just some limitations that he'll never be that way. But that's why you have a head coach that realizes that and doesn't put him in a situation to either harm the team or hurt himself. I look at Buffalo. Buffalo had a nice bounce back yesterday. I mean, they hammered the Raiders. They exposed the Raiders for who I think they are. But they put Josh Allen in harm's way a lot. Instead of protecting him as the bakery chef as a turnover machine, they put him in harm's way. The Niners know what they got. They're not putting Brock Purdy in harm's way.
339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. You want to shoot us a text, want to give us a call? Let's talk to Doug here on Sactown Sports. Doug, you're on with Whitey and Gary Sharp. What's up today?
Gentlemen, how are you?
Good. What's on your mind?
Well, I was listening to your last little talk there about, expectations and moving the goalposts and all that kind of stuff regarding Brock Purdy. And I think that a lot of times not me, but many fans, short for fanatics, will go in and they will do that. And they will talk about, they didn't do this or they couldn't do that. Or I think there's an expectation that is really, really high. If you go into other organizations right now and ask them, hey, man, How would you like to feel at being 2-0 and things are clicking and you have many key players at the skill positions that can help you win games, and your quarterback has to only do these things? And I think Purdy, for me, I love Jimmy, but for me, Purdy is a much better quarterback. And every time I watch the Raiders so far, just kind of peek in, Jimmy's doing what he did with the Niners.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you two touchdowns, but I'm going to throw the ball all over the place, and I'll probably get picked anywhere between 1 and 3 times, and there's a good chance you're not going to win.
Thank you, Doug.
So,
yeah, appreciate that. I think the thing with Jimmy, too, just to my eye, I think the injuries, he's not the player he was last year. And last year he wasn't the player he was the year before. And I know he had a good year last year, but the injuries have taken a toll. It gets kind of cumulative on him. And he's not the same guy because he gets hurt every year, which was the 49ers' single biggest issue with him.
Yeah, and also he needs a really, really good run game.
Yeah.
And Josh Jacobs yesterday, I mean, that's unprecedented for a guy like Josh Jacobs and what he did last year. 9 carries, -2 yards. But here's another thing, and maybe we can get to this on the other side, is, and I keep going back to Justin Fields, and I apologize to all the Ohio State fans that don't want to claim him anymore. But you got to get in the right situation. Like Brock Purdy anywhere else, Whitey, is he successful? Didn't he walk into the right situation?
Mm-hmm.
Like Mahomes walked into the right situation. Justin Fields did not walk into the right situation because it was not a very good team. That's why you were drafted so high. But they had all kinds of issues defensively. It wasn't like one side of the ball was good and we just were going to work on your side because now we drafted you. I think it all comes back to quarterbacks that come into their situation. Mahomes was an ideal one. He could redshirt behind Alex Smith, and then he's got Andy Reid. Brock Purdy walks into a situation where he's not the number one guy, not even expected to be the number one guy, but then you pair what he can do with his head coach, and you're like, wow, that's ideal. Brock Purdy couldn't work probably in half the other places in the league.
Yeah. So does Brock have anything to prove this Thursday against the Giants? That's next year. Gary Sharp, Whitey Gleason, Sactown Sports.
Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's games?
Are you a fan of the Kings, Niners, and the NFL? Well, Sactown Sports has you covered.
Touchdown! San Francisco! It's all on his shoulders. Cox rocks. He fires for the win. He's got the triple.
Catch all your Kings, Niners, and NFL games all year long on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Bonnie. I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center, starting a new work and school week with plenty of sunshine expected. Highs today will top out in the lower to mid 80s, expecting overnight lows nice and cool in the upper 50s. You can get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
Imagine taking a nice warm bath in your shower. Let us fix that. Right now, get that clogged drain unclogged for just $97. Bonnie, plumbing, sewer, electrical, heating, and air. Bonnie.com. Some restrictions apply. License 696-355.
It's the model year-end sales event at Acura of Stockton. Elevate your driving experience with a vehicle that's built to impress. Lease a new Acura RDX or MDX. Acura of Stockton has a great selection of new Acuras and customer service that will exceed your expectations. Take luxury to a whole new level in a new Acura from Acura of Stockton or AcuraofStockton.com, where precision-crafted performance is at your fingertips.
Thunder, feel the thunder. It ignites something inside of you. Lightning and the thunder. Sets alight an elevated state of being. Days are pure exhilaration. And the nights, they're simply electric. See it, hear it, feel it. Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder. Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Feel the thunder.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the next generation network. Well, A's catcher Shea Langoliers has had a pretty remarkable year. He's been behind the plate as the A's primary catcher for a team that has employed 39 pitchers. And offensively, as he approaches 20 home runs, he is closing in on some of the best figures for a catcher in A's history. Ramon Hernandez had 21 homers back in 2003. The gold standard Terry Steinbach, 35 and 96. Ken Korak here, introducing you to the Xfinity 10G network. Xfinity is undergoing a multi-year network evolution, giving you a powerful connection today while building toward a faster, more reliable tomorrow. The Xfinity 10G network gives you the fastest internet with even faster speeds rolling out all the time. You also get a consistent and reliable connection when everyone's online, even during peak hours. That's a home run. If you want to learn more, go online at xfinity.com/10G.
Folsom Lake Ford has trucks. The F-150s are here. Explorers, Expeditions, and a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports. They're in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford. Shop Folsom Lake Ford, your truck headquarters, right here in Sacramento for your favorite Ford models at good, fair prices. Short on cash? Buy any new Ford with zero down. Save big with low interest finance rates. Plus, Folsom Lake Ford is paying top dollar for all trades. We want your vehicle regardless of mileage or condition. This could be the best time to buy a new Ford. Check out the huge inventory online at FolsomLakeFord.com or stop by the dealership and see the most recent arrivals. Looking for something special? Give them a call and tell them Doug Christie sent you. Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall, your trusted dealer, my trusted dealer for over 30 years. FolsomLakeFord.com.
Zero down with approved credit. Hey guys, do you know what makes Revive Men's Health Sacramento different? You. Every Revive treatment and medication is personalized just for you. Revive has the experts that guys go to when their current treatment isn't working. They have a complicated medical condition, or they're just not happy with their daily performance. Since 2011, they've helped thousands of local men suffering with the symptoms of low T and ED. Their goal is simple: to get to the bottom of your issues and fix them. Your best performance requires more than generic ED medications or a low-dose testosterone booster at a low-ball price like you find online. Revive medications are custom compounded, affordable, and guaranteed to resolve your issues. Stop dealing with the symptoms of low T or ED. Book your free T-check and exam and save $199 today. Call 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit us at ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines. Happy Monday. I'm Simone with your Sactown Sports headlines. San Francisco 49ers able to lock up a gritty 30-23 victory down at SoFi Stadium Sunday afternoon against the Los Angeles Rams.
The game is over and the 49ers have won the game.
Wow.
With that dub, the faithful extend their regular season win streak to 9 when sparring with the Rams. Short week for the red and gold as the fellas already have to look to the bright lights of Thursday night football just 3 short days from now. You, of course, can listen to our coverage all week long leading up to Thursday and, of course, listen along right here on Sactown Sports. We're lacing up more football for your Monday night as the Steelers host the Browns tonight with our pregame coverage jumping off at 4:30 and kickoff slated for 5:15 right here on Sactown Sports. I'm Simone. Those are your headlines. Now back to more Sactown Sports.
Sacramento's official home for the San Francisco 49ers.
Sactown Sports.
Coming to you via Folsom Lake Honda. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Whitey Gleason, Gary Sharp, getting ready for a big football Monday. 2 Monday night games today, Gary. What the heck is going on? 2 Monday night games.
This is for us degenerates that had a bad weekend or yesterday at the pay window. Okay, so I have this weird. You remember we've had the stretch where the opening weekend had 2 Monday night games. It took care of the East Coasters. It took care of the West Coasters. And we'd always get like the Raiders and the Broncos. But
that's right.
It seemed like the Raiders were always playing.
Yes.
This is quirky that we have a game that starts an hour before. So we'll still be on the air with Carolina and the Saints. And then you get the game we're carrying, the Browns and the Steelers. I don't know. I don't know that I'd want like competing Monday night games. I don't want to go back to the COVID year where we'd have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday football. But it is kind of unique. Did you see what else happened? Is because of the writer's strike, they're putting Monday Night Football on ABC, which I think is a great move. If you're an ABC affiliate, that's not a bad thing for you. I think when what are you going to have? All these reruns that are going to be shown, a reality show. Instead, you got live sports.
But then I agree with you. But then I was wondering, why don't they always do that then? I'm not sure the answer to that.
Isn't that an ESPN protect our? Yeah. We are ESPN ABC, but let's protect ESPN and draw people to ESPN.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you. And then apparently, and you may know more about this than I do, apparently the reason we have 2 tonight is it has something to do with the fact that in the last TV deal, Disney, ABC, ESPN, they were granted more games. So they're actually having these 2, and they're just going to try to experiment there and see who watches it, what the viewing patterns are like. So it's kind of like an experiment to see who watches what tonight with the 2 games, the 2 staggered games. So
are these good enough? Are these good enough games that you split your screen?
Well, they both could be competitive games. So, that obviously that NFC South doesn't really get your juices going, but it's going to be competitive football. And hey, look at those Atlanta Falcons. Look at the Tampa Bay Bucks. So it's a competitive division. Yeah.
You get to see Bryce Young and you get to see Derek Carr. And then, of course, the Steelers and the Browns are a historic matchup. And the Steelers, Kenny Pickett has to have a good game after what happened against the Niners. If Kenny Pickett doesn't have a good game, I would be okay mentioning him in the same sentence as Zach Wilson.
Really?
But hey, put their numbers side by side. It's startling how very similar they are, like in their first 14 games in the NFL.
I think he's going to struggle tonight too, because Cleveland's, they're not 49ers, but they're very good defensively. And they showed that last week against Joe Burrow and the Bengals.
Hey, so I have a question here. As people will watch this game and, you're going to grab some dinner. Did you know today is National Cheeseburger Day?
Wow, I had no idea.
During Simone's...
Snuck up on me this year. I don't even have the decorations up.
Well, every day has a national. Yeah. It's National Pencil Day, Crayon Day.
Sure.
Everything has a national day if you keep up. But on my phone, during Simone's update, I got this message from, I have an app that saves me at a fast food place that I frequent just for their Diet Coke, that told me it's National Cheeseburger Day. I got to thinking here. We all have like our special place where you've gone that is like your best burger. I don't know if I can or not. I'll get my wrist slap. Fred's Burger. I'm a big fan.
Well, you're coming to us from the home of the greatest burgers in the world, right?
Well, thank you. We have beef out here, in Nebraska. But here, and this is for you and for Simone and Jay, we can get into this conversation. Can you mess up a cheeseburger? You can mess up a steak. You can mess up, other food, of course. But can you mess up a cheeseburger?
It's hard, but I think you can. If you have a really dry, thin patty and the cheese isn't melted properly, it's hard. It's very difficult, but I think it can be done, Gare.
Now, have you ever had a Juicy Lucy?
I don't think I'm even allowed to address that. But I don't think I have.
I should have prefaced it before that came out of my mouth. Okay, so it's a Midwest thing. It's very much like a Minnesota thing. They have the cheese inside of the hamburger.
Inside the actual burger?
Yeah, so when you bite into the hamburger, that's when the cheese comes out.
Okay.
So it's melted cheese inside of the hamburger.
I think that would work. Does it work?
It's extremely popular.
Yeah.
I'm really kind of surprised it has not taken off. Like In-N-Out hasn't dabbled with the Juicy Lucy. Maybe you can get it on the secret menu.
But I would need more cheese. I would need the cheese in the middle is fun, but I'm still going to need it on top and put some underneath as well while you're at it. Arco Arena, Arco 2. I only went to Arco 1 one time, so I don't know if they had it there. But in Arco 2, they used to have cheese. What was it called? Cheese hot dogs, and it actually had chunks of cheese in the sausage.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I don't think they have them at the Golden One.
Well, I think that's a wise move.
I'm not doing it justice. Hey. It was better than it sounds. It was better than I'm making it sound.
Hey, I'm glad you're in Sports Talk Radio and not a food reviewer. That'd be great in the Sacramento Bee with your byline. They had chunks of cheese in the sausage.
Yeah, well, that's what it was. What did they call that? I think they might have.
I think that's actually what they call
Arco cheese. I think it was the Arco cheese dog, which just puts it all the way over the top. So
was it popular?
It was there on the menu a long time, and I admit I was a little bit skeptical, but I don't know, but I love cheese and I love hot dogs, so hey, you know what? It works.
It's for all the kids out there.
It's when everyone started becoming so, diet conscious that they had to say, you know what, we can't be responsible for the, we don't want to look like we don't care about people's health anymore. But it was a winner. I don't know what kind of cheese it was though. That's the thing.
It was just chunks. It was chunks of mozzarella.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that. I'm going to assume it was that.
It was those things of cheddar. They just put it in the hot dog and put it on the roller, and there you go.
Mm-hmm. If Brock Purdy was a burger yesterday, what was he? Was he like just a hamburger, right? He was a hamburger, maybe some pickles. He was okay. He was serviceable.
Was he medium?
Yes. Medium well done. Just not a very fancy bun, not an artisan bun, not even a sesame seed bun. And he got the job done. Would you agree?
I would agree. That sounds like a good, if you were starting a hamburger place, that sounds like the right ingredients and the right philosophy. So yes.
And the 49ers can win with him being that, but to have their best chance to win the Super Bowl, he's got to be a deluxe cheeseburger.
I like that. Not a triple, but a deluxe.
Yes.
With all the trimmings.
All the trimmings. Yes. Onions and tomatoes and yeah.
But can you with that deluxe cheeseburger, can you win a food contest, i.e. a playoff game?
Yes. But here's the other thing. Putting the food analogy, as much fun as it is for everybody, aside for just a minute, you've heard this, I'm sure, and people say, well, Brock Purdy's no Mahomes. How many Patrick Mahomes are there's one? There's one guy, and one team has him. So how can you say, well, he's not Patrick Mahomes? Of course he's not.
No, and I don't think you drafted him as the last pick and you said, that's going to be our Patrick Mahomes. Right. Or even, hey, Tom Brady worked out with a late pick. No, we got to quit moving the goalposts on him because he is what he is. He's gonna get better.
He's good. He's a really good quarterback.
Yeah, he's good on a roster that is really good. That's a great way to put it. He's really good. He's a good NFL quarterback on an extremely talented roster.
Yeah, and they were somewhat fortunate, of course, and so is he to come to the 49ers. But you're right. The things that he does well, which are things that aren't always evident to most of us who don't always know what we're looking at, but they are things that make him a great fit for Kyle Shanahan's offense. And that's the other thing about Brock Purdy. He does things really well that people don't even know he's doing well. He gets the ball out. He makes the right reads. It was funny. I'm sure you heard Shanahan said, those deep balls that he missed on, one of them I didn't mind so much because it wasn't even the first read. It was a great read just to see where the ball should go. But he does a lot of those things that if you're just sitting there watching the game, you don't even know that he's doing it. And he makes his decisions so quickly. He has advantages over other quarterbacks that to the untrained eye, we're not even aware of, Gare.
Yeah. I think he was well coached coming up out of high school in Arizona. And then at Iowa State, he was in an offense that tested him. I got to ignore where he got drafted. I mean, I think if he's at a different place than Iowa State, maybe he goes in the third round, maybe he goes in the fourth round, and then maybe we look at him differently. But I don't know. It's just it's an exhausting conversation for a team that's 2-0 and they're exactly where they are. And they've gotten off to a quick start, which has not always been the case. Well, they get to 2-0, but then the bottom falls out. I think they're in a really good spot. They play Thursday against the Giants. No Barkley. They're going to be 3-0. Then they got Arizona. They're going to be right where you think they should be when they welcome Dallas. And does Purdy have to be better than Prescott in that game? Does Purdy have to be better than Jalen Hurts? Or is it just simply the Niners have to be better than the Cowboys when they get done playing 60 minutes of football?
He can't play badly and has to take care of the ball and then have a chance to win. Yeah. Coming up, Stingers up. Well, Stingers could not be much higher after Saturday. That's next. Gary Sharp, Whitey Gleason, Sactown Sports.
The 49ers are in primetime this Thursday against the Giants.
Touchdown!
Pre-game coverage starts at 4:15 with kickoff at 5:15.
On Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Everyone knows Elk Grove Kia is home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty on every new Kia. But did you also know that Elk Grove Kia is your one-stop place for used cars? I'm talking over 300 used cars available. With Kia's certified program with its 165-point quality assurance inspection, we know peace of mind on used cars is important. And that's why we also offer extended service agreements on all our used makes and models. Most prices are under Kelley Blue Book retail. New car protection at used car prices. From used sports cars to used delivery vans, we got them all at Elk Grove Kia. And our financing folks have over 100 years of combined experience. So we approve just about everyone. No credit, little credit, bad credit, no problem. And Elk Grove Kia is proud of our don't like it, bring it back guarantee for up to 3 days or 150 miles, no questions asked. Why would you buy your used car anywhere else? So check us out online at elkgrovekia.com today.
Turn your highway into a smile way. Elk Grove Kia. Hey, it's Carmichael Dave. Is your dog leaving frowny piles of poo all around your yard? Well, we need to introduce them to Supreme Source Super Premium Dog Food, the fastest growing premium dog food in the country, made with organic seaweed for easy digestion, family owned and operated for 50 years. 6 interchangeable recipes. You can grab some at Safeway, Save Mart, Smart and Final, Winco. Learn more at SupremeSourcePet.com. Supreme Source, a solid choice.
The Amish have a reputation for craftsmanship, determination, and quality. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. You know, those virtues sound quite similar to the Keys family and the day-to-day values on display at Naturewood. The Amish furniture craftsmanship begins with the finest hardwood, shaping and molding the raw materials into one-of-a-kind art. In addition to the classic styles long sought and revered by discriminating furniture lovers, Naturewood Home Furnishings offers a vast selection that includes transitional, modern, farmhouse, arts and crafts, and other stunning styles, all available in the ultimate Amish standard of excellence built over centuries. All Naturewood Amish furniture is on sale right now for a limited time. Let the Naturewood team guide you through their selection of Amish furniture that will be with you forever. Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
The game of football is about pain. Ever since I was 5 years old, it's been all about football. It's been about running, jumping, blocking, tackling. I stopped playing at 31.
You're listening to Michael Robinson, retired pro fullback.
I thought that foot pain was going to be with me for the rest of my life. I'm so glad I met Good Feet. I'm so glad that those arch supports are in my shoes. I had terrible foot issues that prevented me from really having a normal life with my kids. With the Good Feet arch supports, man, I'm always ready. My kids actually got to enjoy me in the yard more, racing each other, backpedaling, teaching them some things, being a dad. If I had known about the Good Feet arch support earlier, I would have more than one championship. I would have 2 championship rings.
See what we can do for you with a free personalized arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
Good Feet in Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and Vacaville.
Shop Folsom Lake Kia for all your favorite models at low prices and payments, plus low finance rates and 0 down deals with approved credit. Go see my friends at Folsom Lake Kia right here in Sacramento for over 20 years.
Attention, all tool shoppers. Get ready for the biggest DeWalt sale event of the year at Fasteners Inc. Sacramento this Saturday, September 23rd. We're bringing you the best deals on DeWalt products you've ever seen for one day only, including impact drivers for $59, combo kits for as low as $179, and up to $2,000 off your order with instant cashback rewards. Again, that's this Saturday only, September 23rd. Come on down and get better tools for better prices at Fasteners Inc. Tool Outlet. Find us at 6701 Power Inn Road and learn more at fastenersinc.net.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sactown Sports.
Before we get to the Sac State Miracle, I have a Brock Purdy question. It has nothing to do with how he played. Anybody who saw yesterday the commercial, Brock Purdy in a Toyota commercial, and he's driving a truck and he's going to practice and it's foggy, and he goes through a tunnel. And I was just curious. I think that's the Devil's Slide Tunnel. If anybody saw that and you can confirm that, I think it's the Devil's Slide Tunnel out there on Highway 1. I was just curious. I think that's Devil's Slide Tunnel. Anybody knows? If you had any thoughts on that, I would appreciate that. Has nothing to do with how he played or how he needs to play Thursday against the New York Giants. But Gary Sharp, Whitey Gleason here. Gary, you're right. The 49ers, they're on their way to 4-0. There's just no way around it. They got essentially 2 byes coming up here, right?
Yeah. They had a short week. You play the Giants, who are now down Barkley, and had a rally to beat the Cardinals. Then you get the Cardinals after essentially a half bye because you get the extended time after playing on Thursday. It sets up perfectly to get ready for the Cowboys in week 5.
Yeah. By the way, I got to give a tip of the cap to myself on Friday and to Chris Watkins. Friday I was on with Chris Watkins. Yeah.
I heard you guys talking about your picks.
Yes. We did a little upset special thing and upset alert. And Chris called Seattle will beat Detroit. And I remember when he did it, I said, are you crazy? But he was right. And I stumbled into picking Washington over Denver. So how about that? We both hit our upset alerts on Friday.
How bad was it? Well, we haven't even talked about the Broncos, and we were talking about quarterbacks from Justin Fields and Mahomes to Brock. I mean, Russell Wilson, 34. That he might. Sean Payton might be the worst thing that's ever happened to him.
Well, I think what happened there, it's hard to say from as removed as we are, but Sean Payton, to me, it looked like he went in there with that attitude, like, I'm Sean Payton. I'll take care of this team, has all the talent. They just need to, I'll fix the culture. But a coach can't fix culture. Culture has to be everybody buying in and caring about winning. And I don't know that Russ would like to win. I think there are more important things to Russ right now, given how much he has won, than winning. And I think that's the problem, no matter who the coach is. We'll see. But so far, obviously, 2 bad home losses for them.
So I root for Kansas City, so I'm not a Bronco fan at all. And I was really broken up yesterday when the Commanders came back. But are the Broncos broken, Whitey? You know, in the past, a good Bronco team would get up by 18. They'd be up 21-3, and they would put the hammer down at home. They let them back into the game.
Mm-hmm.
Then also, Bronco luck in that stadium, there's a PI called on the 2-point conversion. Those didn't happen yesterday. They're 0-2 with 2 bad home losses to the Raiders and now Washington. And you've got all this, well, what's going on with Russell Wilson? He looks like he's washed at 34, and Sean Payton all of a sudden is under the gun. The Broncos might be broken. It might not be just Sean Payton riding in and fixing them. They might be in a world of hurt here because they are slipping further and further behind the top of that division.
I agree. And Kareem Jackson, another vicious hit that resulted in his ejection. So that's 2 games in a row. He's been up to that. That's another indication that, wait, we're not all about winning here. We're not all on the same page. And I think Sean Payton underestimated how unraveled that situation had become, and it's too late to fix now. But, long ways to go. Obviously, last year, Cincinnati started 0-2. They made the playoffs. They were one of the best teams in the AFC, so it can happen.
But you know what? I mean, look at their division. So this is my belief, Whitey. We don't give John Harbaugh enough credit. I think John Harbaugh is one of the best coaches in the NFL.
I agree.
And again, they're 2-0. He brought in a new OC to work with Lamar. Lamar got paid. He's happy. They always have a really, really good roster, but then it's injury, and they fall apart. But look at that division. If Cleveland wins tonight, they're 2-0. Baltimore's 2-0. And Zach Taylor continues to treat the beginning of the season like preseason game 1 and 2 and hoping that Joe Burrow will bail him out. Now, all of a sudden, the story might not be in Cincinnati. Hey, the Bengals are 0-2. It might be Burrow is not healthy, and he looks the part. He doesn't look like the guy that is one of the best gunslingers in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree. We said Friday we're looking at the team that needs a win the most, and I said, hey, Cincinnati, they don't want to go 0-2, but especially not against a team in their own division. So, yeah, it couldn't be much worse for them, especially with Joe Burrow now having the calf issues again. So they started 0-2 last year, made the playoffs, a whole different picture this year. We'll talk more about that coming up. I know, Gary, you had some thoughts, and I know Sacramento college football fans and Sac State grads are still basking in the afterglow of Sac State's win at Stanford, 30-23. So we all know the story. Stanford says, here's $625,000 to come to Stanford to play. It's like, okay, great. Thanks for the money. Boom. We just kicked your fanny. So what a terrific victory and a terrific story for Sac State.
Hey, it's great for their alums. Great for Jason. I'm really surprised Jason had to work today because I thought after calling a win like that, you think Brian would give him the day off.
Yeah, you'd think, yeah.
But yeah, it's great for Sacramento State. And, they're a really, really good FCS program. I know when you win a game like that, they're like, hey, we're Northern California's team. Get out of the way, Fresno State. We could be an FBS team. There's a lot that goes into that community support money. You need an upgrade in the stadium. But in the FCS level, they're a really, really solid program. And I'm trying to balance here of giving kudos to Sac State for going in there and beating Stanford when you were behind 2 touchdowns and beating your former coach who basically recruited the entire Sac State roster. So it's great for them. They can hang it up, and that's just become commonplace is that you pay them $600K. They're going to come, and they're going to be competitive, and they might take your $600K and take a victory. That's what happened. But is there a discussion point? And I know college football isn't big in Sacramento, but they're close enough, and they've been good enough, and they've got players that we all recognize. What has happened to Stanford? Like, Stanford was in a part where you went from Harbaugh, Andrew Luck, David Shaw. Stanford football was competitive. Stanford football was being talked about. They were playing in the Rose Bowl.
Nationally relevant.
Yes, Stanford football is like just hardly a blip on the screen. And you know what? I truly believe that if they were still competitive and winning 8, 9, 10 games, they'd be in the Big Ten and not having to go across the country and play in the ACC.
Yeah. Well, that's why they got Troy Taylor, and it'll take him time. He probably is capable of turning that thing around if anybody is. But the other thing is, you look at the size of the schools and the programs, of course, like massive upset. But as anybody knows who really followed it, I think it was like 6.5. The spread was like 6.5. It really wasn't even that big of an upset, big picture.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, that just shows you.
Yeah,
1-1 Stanford, but also let's give credit to Sacramento State, which we are. I mean, they got the Folsom quarterback in Caden Bennett, who is a star at Sacramento State. You looked at those two teams played, and you would have never known that there was one FBS team and one FCS team.
Mm-hmm.
That's a credit to Troy Taylor, what he left, and then what Andy Thompson has done. Coordinating the defense since 19 and now being the head coach. That's a huge win, and I hope they celebrate it. And I hope now that brings attention. People are going to the stadium when they're back home. I know they're on the road this weekend, and they're like, you know what? We probably are never going to be FBS, but we can be one of the best in FCS, and we're okay. And then we get that one shot to go play the Stanfords or the Cals or the Oregon States. You got to watch out because we're going to win.
Mm-hmm. What'd you think of Colorado's big win over Colorado State? Double overtime.
Yeah, okay, so in my other world, I talk a lot of college football from where I'm at with Nebraska. And so I was out in Boulder last week. So I saw that up close. I think we have to separate the Deion thing and to me, there's always Deion and then there's Prime. They're two personalities. And right now he lets the Prime out, and that's the brand. We never had a coach in college football that's a brand that attracts people. Pete Carroll was kind of that at USC, and you saw the sidelines were packed back in the heyday of the Trojans. You see that at Colorado. I think what happens is we get clouded. We're fans of Deion, and we don't really know much about Colorado football outside of his kids, that when they win a game like that, you go, oh, my gosh, do you believe? They're 3-0, but look at who they've beaten. TCU, Nebraska, and they were 24-point favorites that had to go to double overtime. So I say, hold on. Get back to me after they play Oregon and USC. It's the story of college football, and you can't look away. And they're a hot item, and we've never seen something like that in college football that Deion is bringing. And he makes some people uncomfortable, and you can tell when they have a discussion. He's great for Colorado. I don't think he changes college football, and he also has allowed all of us to get a better look at his son as an elite quarterback, and he'll be in the NFL maybe next year if he elects to come out or stay in for one more year.
Back to the NFL, back to the 49ers when we come back. Where there's a Wilkes, there's a way. 49er defense yesterday, much better in the second half. Got the job done. What happened? That's next year. Gleason and Sharp, Sactown Sports.
Check out the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa every week on Sactown Sports. Get the latest on equipment, area courses, people who play the great game, and plenty of good conversations about golf. It's the Golf to Go Hour every week with Frank LaRosa on Sactown Sports. Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, America's most awarded golf facility. Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
At Bank of America, we learn what matters most by asking our customers one simple question. What would you like the power to do?
I'd like the power to worry less.
The power to make my parents comfortable.
The power to...
agree on a monthly budget?
Oh, hey, that'd be nice.
No matter what your financial goal is, we're here to help. Bank of America, what would you like the power to do? Bank of America N.A., member FDIC, equal credit opportunity lender.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. But not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
If your passion is bass fishing, only one radio show has the action, information, and excitement of your favorite outdoor sport. Ultimate Bass, hosted by Tournament Bass Pro and California Outdoor Hall of Famer Kent Brown, takes you live to where the fish are biting every Saturday morning. Only Ultimate Bass feeds your passion with the latest news, products, tips, and advice from the pros. Ultimate Bass with Kent Brown, Saturday mornings at 5 a.m. on Sactown Sports 1140, part of SEP's Saturday Morning Outdoors.
Hey, you want to be around people having a great time? You need to come check out Capital Casino, offering the most varieties of table games in the region in the friendliest environment. Come for the food, which is awesome, of course, and stay and play. Conveniently located in downtown Sacramento at 411 North 16th Street, right there in downtown Sacramento for over 20 years. Cap Casino, best food, best games, and of course, the best action. And please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
KHTK AM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
Sacramento's official home for the San Francisco 49ers.
Touchdown! San Francisco! Sactown Sports.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines.
Happy Monday. I'm Simone with your Sactown Sports headlines. San Francisco 49ers able to lock up a gritty 30-23 victory down at SoFi Stadium Sunday afternoon against the Los Angeles Rams.
The game is over and the 49ers have won the game.
Wow.
With that dub, the faithful extend their regular season win streak to 9 when sparring with the Rams. Short week for the red and gold as the fellas already have to look to the bright lights of Thursday night football just 3 short days from now. You, of course, can listen to our coverage all week long leading up to Thursday and, of course, listen along right here on Sactown Sports. We're lacing up more football for your Monday night as the Steelers host the Browns tonight with our pregame coverage dumping off at 4:30 and kickoff slated for 5:15 right here on Sactown Sports. I'm Simone. Those are your headlines. Now back to more Sactown Sports.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Sactown Sports.
Taking you up to kickoff of our second Monday night game tonight. Whitey Gleason, Gary Sharp, thanks for being with us. Steve Wilkes, 49er defensive coordinator, making his mark, earning his keep yesterday. Before we get to that, as Gary Sharp mentioned, as he educated us earlier, it's National Cheeseburger Day. Gary, Simone, Jay, does anybody know? I had to look it up. I didn't know. Do you know why it's National Cheeseburger Day? What the story is behind National Cheeseburger Day? Anybody?
I don't know.
Yeah. Gary, any idea? Yeah. Gary, do you know why it's National Cheeseburger Day?
I do not.
Yeah. The story goes, let's see. I don't know if I'm buying this. Story goes, a teenager, Lionel Sternberger, was working in his father's sandwich shop, The Right Spot in Pasadena. He just decided to put a slice of American cheese on a burger one day, and National Cheeseburger Day was born.
No. That's
Thank you.
First of all, that name is not, that's got to be a
Lionel Sternberger. Yes, absolutely. I'm with you 100% on that. Yeah. I was expecting a big cheeseburgers are great. It's like, the guy 16-year-old put cheese on a burger. Cheeseburger Day.
Watkins for sure would hate a cheeseburger, right?
Hey, can I ask you about your partner, Whitey?
Yes.
Because we've had the opportunity to do a couple of shows.
So great Chris Watkins, sure.
Oh, he's fantastic. But he does have those quirks. You guys were talking about it. He doesn't like pie. So we had this discussion last time we were on together, and I'm not a big pie guy. I mean, my waistline might look like it, but I'm not. But so why doesn't he like cheeseburgers? Is he not a cheese guy?
No, we don't know. That's
okay.
That's kind of Simone's just guessing,
speculation,
right? Yeah,
yep, allegedly.
Yeah.
So we've all been in radio for a while. I have to believe that the quirkiest and worst food takes are by sports talk radio hosts. Right or wrong? Poll question.
Probably. Do you have another example for us, or?
Well, like you don't. I don't like warm fruit on my pizza. I don't like warm fruit, period. But like, I don't like pineapple on pizza.
Yeah.
And some people are like, oh no, you got to try Hawaiian pizza. Throw in some Canadian bacon. And I'm like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, pizza. I don't know that you could do it wrong. You asked earlier, could you do a cheeseburger wrong? I have a friend who used to live in Japan, and he told me that they used to have pizza over there that had corn on it and squid.
No.
That was the toppings. Yeah, corn. Would you like a corn and squid pizza? And I'll tell you what, I would do.
No, you wouldn't.
I'd have
you wouldn't.
no problem with that. No problem whatsoever.
Okay, back to my poll question: are Whitey's food takes just awful? Yes or yes?
If it were pizza, now you give me a bowl of corn and some squids, like I don't know, put it on a pizza. Yes. Can I have another? You might as well start making the next one now because I'm going to have another one.
Well, I would like you to try that at your favorite pizza shop in Sacramento. You know what? I was traveling overseas recently. This is a new concoction.
I went to a Subway once with my brother, Chris, who unfortunately is no longer with us, but he lived in New York and he didn't frequent fast food places very often.
Mm-hmm.
And we were going somewhere, so we had to go to Subway. And I love Subway. So I asked him, go ahead and get something. And so he orders whatever he ordered. And they said, what kind of cheese? And he goes, Munster. And the girl goes, what did you say? I said, no, I don't think they have. Yeah, they don't have Munster today. So, you're gonna go with cheddar or American or something, but yeah, I'll have Munster cheese.
How do you not know about Munster cheese?
Anyway, the 49ers sandwiched the Rams yesterday. Eventually, after a rough first half of nip and tuck. The Rams, let's face it, Gary, the 49ers were not getting to the quarterback in the first half yesterday.
No.
That's the one thing the 49ers are supposed to be able to do against anybody is get to the quarterback. And they were not able to get to Matt Stafford in the first half yesterday.
You seem to be pretty passionate about that. You pay your defensive line a lot of money
yes.
to get there on their own so you don't have to blitz. But yeah, they were not. He was untouched. Bosa didn't even get in the neighborhood of Stafford until late in the game.
Did Bosa even play? Was Bosa there yesterday? Where was he?
Wow, that's a hot take. Shouldn't have paid him, according to Whitey.
There you go.
That's what the Sactown message boards are saying.
Drake Jackson, 3 sacks at Pittsburgh yesterday.
Well, okay.
What happened?
So I'm going to give. I know Sean McVay. I mean, he's betting on that. I'm going to support him here. Is they had a good game plan. I mean, what they were doing, they were getting the ball out quick.
Yep.
And I mean, he challenged Steve Wilks. So we talk about standards. We've talked about Brock Purdy today, Whitey. Steve Wilks has some standards as well. The two guys that have come from before him have been pretty good at their job, and they're both head coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got Steve Wilks, and I thought the first half was like, oh, Steve Wilks, I've seen that before with your defenses. I thought the second half, we might have seen a defensive coordinator with the Niners who is brand new put his stamp on,
yes,
this is what I'm going to be, with the
Mhm.
changes they made in the second half.
Yes, and a lot of it was blitzing, and we knew he liked to blitz. That's what we heard from day one. He will blitz more. And I remember thinking, not that I, what do I know? But I was thinking, with that rush, they may not have to blitz. But yesterday, case in point, they needed to blitz. And the blitz was very effective in the second half and was one of the reasons the 49ers turned the game around. And I think if there were any doubts whatsoever about, Steve Wilks, I don't know. But yesterday, to your point, he made the statement, and they're in great shape with a guy who understands his personnel and was able to make the adjustments yesterday to help his defense lead the way to that victory.
Yeah, they had, that soft zone coverage they had, and Stafford was finding holes in it. But I like what they did in the second half. Not only was blitzing, they also tackled better. I mean, Ward he whiffed on a play where he could have made a play. But then in the second half, they were blitzing more, and I thought they became more aggressive. And they came up with a couple of key turnovers. Now, they do have some, we know about the short week playing Thursday at home at Levi Stadium against the Giants. They have some injuries that I think we need to keep an eye on in that defensive backfield.
Yeah, secondary, and that was already kind of they didn't have a ton of depth at the corner position as it was, and now it's tested with them losing, was it Thomas that was out?
That's his second straight week he's left the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you're right. But yesterday, and Fred Warner was, the blitzes straight up the gut, very effective. So that was very impressive from Steve Wilks yesterday. And then, as you say, the playmakers on both sides of the ball were able to make enough plays, especially it's a bit of an oversimplification, but offense in the first half and the defenders in the second half to carry the day. And let's not forget, the kicker yesterday had another really good day.
Oh,
Jake Moody was Money Moody.
Well, there was that kickoff that went out of bounds. We can't be all positive.
Right. But when it came to putting the ball between the uprights, something that some say he struggled with in the preseason, hey, so far so good.
Hey,
Perfect.
so we talk about trust, like Kyle Shanahan trusting his team. How about, what was your reaction when there's a 57-yard field goal attempt, and here we go. Here comes the kicker trotting out there. What is Kyle Shanahan doing? That gave me an inkling that, well, we think, oh, geez, Jake Moody, oh, my gosh, what's this going to be like? And he did go 3 for 3 field goals, PATs. I think Kyle Shanahan told you what he thinks when he trots him out there for a 57-yard attempt.
Yeah, I think that's the whole reason they made that switch. The thinking, I think, there is that's why the guy is here. And okay, he just got here, but that's why he's here. And we need to see that he can do this. And boom, there you go.
Hey,
so it gives them a dimension.
Do you think? I mean, I don't want to overthink this. I mean, I'm not. I'm not. I've played Madden and I've read books from Bill Walsh.
Good. Yeah.
Do you think
that's a good resume right there?
It's not bad. It's not bad at all. Do you think that with all of the attention towards the Niners and especially the faithful and how everybody wants this year to end up in Vegas and hoisting Lombardi, that with some of the things that we saw in preseason, whether it be a holdout or Jake Moody, some injuries, Brock Purdy, the Trey Lance stuff, the Niners benefited greatly from playing the first 2 games on the road.
And how so now?
So you get a test in the opening game and you go there and you're like, wake up the NFL and go, yep, the Niners don't even, because I've said they're distraction proof. They go to Pittsburgh, they steamroll the Steelers, no questions. Then they go and they play basically a home game at Levi South and they win. But like questions before that Pittsburgh game that we all had, they were able to go out and play away from San Francisco, get 2 victories. Now they come home and think about your angst with that last preseason game. Now you've seen 2 regular season games. You're like, okay, that's who they are.
Mm-hmm.
So they can go out there and get away from any chatter about, oh boy, all Trey Lance stuff. All that stuff that was going on 2 weeks ago has kind of been squelched. When you start 2-0 and they answer questions, Purdy looks like he's healthy. The elbow's not a problem. McCaffrey is still McCaffrey. Bose is back. Warner is still Warner. And then, oh, by the way, Jake Moody looks like he's going to be okay.
Yeah, I think the play that really cemented all that for them, it wasn't yesterday. It was week 1, the 65-yard McCaffrey run. I know we talked about it at the time, and you probably talked about it. But with the blocks downfield from Ray, Cloud, and also from Ayuk, that really cemented this is what we're about as a team. We want to win. We've got our receivers. The mantra is no block, no rock, and they believe it. And I think that really set the tone for him and really showed, all right, Bosa was holding out, but he's back. We're good. We're ready to win. Yesterday, a little flat, but I think some of that was just the letdown from having such a sensational opening week.
I agree about the flat. I thought the defense, I thought there were guys that were flat-footed early in the game. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they thought about the Rams. Again, I think the Rams are going to be a little bit better than they are. Remember, one of the best wide receivers in the league is not with them right now in Cooper Kupp. But they can beat.
They don't need him anymore. They got Puka.
Oh,
who needs Cooper Kupp?
Everybody needs a Puka. They beat you in so many ways. I mean, that's who the Niners are. They beat you in so many ways, and they have enough right now where they can overcome a poor offensive line performance. Or yesterday, they get a really good performance to neutralize Aaron Donald, and they have better players than you do. And at the end of the day, it comes down to the Jimmies and Joes almost as much as the X's and O's in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and I think the big thing to feel good about yesterday from the 49ers standpoint is that McKivitz held his own, the right side of the line, Burford and McKivitz. They didn't get dominated. McKivitz got pushed around by TJ Watt. That's hardly a surprise. But yesterday, Aaron Donald was no stranger to lining up over there, and it really wasn't an issue for the 49ers. I think that's one of their big question marks going forward. And yesterday, in a situation where it could have been a big problem, it was not, and that's a touchdown.
Hey, why do you think that the Niners have such good success against Aaron Donald?
I think they are able to run at him, for one thing. And I think yesterday they just are able to scheme enough guys going at him to, double, triple team. I'd have to break down the film, but I think they do a good job of basically helping like you would with an NBA. Where's the help coming from, an NBA player? And I think they do a good job of mixing it up to the point where they limit his effectiveness.
Yeah, I think that's a Shanahan.
I do too.
I think Shanahan is Aaron Donald's kryptonite.
Mm-hmm. McVay and Shanahan. It's interesting to see them go head to head. It's just, if you're the Rams, you got to say, yeah, you guys have beat us. What is it, 9 in a row now? But you didn't beat us when it was a Super Bowl trip on the line. So,
yeah, but okay. So I would be embarrassed if I'm a Rams fan because
there aren't any. Don't worry about it.
I know. I was trying to be nice. But look at remember the preseason game at the Roomba? The Roomba, which I call the stadium in Vegas because it looks like what cleans my floors in my house.
Mm-hmm.
It was all red. Like, I love the Niners fans because when they go on the road, they wear the gear and they don't wear the road uniform. They wear the red. So you stand out. Like, yesterday was embarrassing. That was embarrassing because that was just chock full of Niners fans. And I don't know. I think the Niners are in the Rams' head. I think Shanahan is in McVay's head. You beat them in the NFC Championship game. I get that. But, man, they just went into your house and beat you and took over your stadium. And they probably, in this world and day and age of Fight Club and stands, they probably also beat up some of your fans.
Well, I know there was a fan literally that we saw that was breaking up a fight on the field. Was it an Ayuk? No, it was a Debo fan, right?
Yes.
A Debo fan got in there. Yeah.
How wild is that? That guy was fearless.
Yeah. Debo said he appreciated it, but it's probably better not to get involved in something like that. But fans are going to fan. It's just crazy that I know this is an old news because we've been talking about it since last week. But the fact that the 49ers were allowed to wear their red on the road, why the Rams allowed them to do that. Chris Watkins had a great theory. Maybe the Rams figure, well, it doesn't seem to do any good when they wear white, so we might as well switch it up and see what happens. I don't know.
I like the theory, but you're right. That's like a major mistake of you look around and you're like, well, I guess we're not playing at home. I get it. The Chargers go through the same thing every time they're at home. But yesterday was like, man, you are the Rams. You just recently won the Super Bowl, and your stadium looks like Santa Clara.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Coming up next, that late meaningless field goal was actually very, very meaningful to many. With Gary Sharp, Whitey Gleason, next on Sactown Sports.
Can the Niners build off their NFC Championship appearance from last season? How will the quarterbacks perform throughout the year?
Purdy back, now going to throw for the end zone, wide open, Brandon Ayuk is on fire!
Will the defense lead this squad again?
Intercepted! Ball got tipped up and taken by Fred Warner!
Get all your 49er coverage throughout the NFL season on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave here for American Energy Heating and Air. It's the end of summer blowout on all their systems. Right now, $2,500 off full systems, as low as $34 a week. And now American Energy Heating and Air offering a free Wi-Fi smart thermostat of your choice on high efficiency units. Look, the uncomfortable becomes comfortable with American Energy Heating and Air. They've been around since 1981, making the greater Sacramento area proud with an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. And as always, their goal is to exceed your expectations, exceed them of the heating and air industry, valuing the customer experience and making your home comfortable. It's that simple. Go to American Energy Heating and Air and get yourself a free Wi-Fi smart thermostat of your choice on high efficiency units.
Call 916-520-9998 now.
Your new home for 49ers football in the 916 Sactown Sports.
Whitey Gleason, Gary Sharp with you. Gary, here you go.
Foo Fighters?
Yeah, a little Foo Fighters for you. This is on the text line here, 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. We were talking earlier about Brock and Justin Fields. From the 209, Brock is winless if he's on the Bears. Fields is making the Bears relevant. So you see there still are some people that look at it as if, they'd be better off if they'd taken Fields.
Brock deniers are still out there, huh?
And they had, some of them had a day yesterday because Brock was okay. He was all right. But look at it. You see, he's not that good, said some of the haters.
So that was the first game he has not thrown a touchdown pass, correct?
First game he hasn't thrown 2 touchdown passes.
Yeah.
You're right.
Okay, they still scored 30. He ran for a touchdown. He was 17 of 26. You brought up a great point earlier. Maybe the biggest stat is 0 turnovers. I don't. I live in a world where winning is hard, and we need to appreciate what it takes to win. And sometimes you don't have your A game. The whole team didn't have their A game yesterday. I would say they probably had a C+ game. If I was back in my 7th grade class with Mr. Hallwell as my teacher, and he was
I'm sorry, Mr. Who? Mr.
Hallwell.
Hallwell or Hallwell?
Hallwell.
Okay.
Hallwell.
Yeah.
In later years, I would call him John.
Sure.
But he was a tough grader. He would probably give that a C+. And they won. They're 2-0.
Yeah, I was thinking B-, but definitely right in that range. Getting to the point where, pretty soon Well, they have a chance to turn around, but if they play that way again, it's going to be a see me. But have your parents call me, right? We're getting. I mean, if that continues, yeah, I need to talk to your parents.
Do they still give pluses and minuses, or have we just become really soft?
I think they do. All I know is that years ago I found my SAT scores, and I don't know why I kept them. I had them in a box somewhere, and our 2 daughters were home. And I get my SAT scores, and I think verbal was pretty good. And I don't remember what it was, but I get it out. And it's like, hey, girls, look at that. And they both started laughing. They're just, really not joke laughing, but that's your SAT. Well, it was harder then, okay? We didn't have special classes for it and all that. So I learned my lesson.
We didn't have 6 weeks of prep.
Right. You basically, it was like a surprise quiz. Like, here's your SATs, go. Yeah.
And girls, you don't know, but that Friday night before I took that Saturday morning 9 a.m. SAT, that was rough.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was going to say, I think that they changed the numbers for it. So they probably saw your score and they're like laughing at how low it seems.
Right.
But yeah. I just wanted to help you out
too. There. I don't know if there's any truth to that, Simone, but I like to think that too. Thank you. There were some interesting numbers yesterday in the 49er Ram game, as you know. 30-20, 4 seconds left in the game. Sean McVay, let's kick a field goal. 49ers were favored by 7 at some sports books, 7.5 at others. That field goal, of course, made it 30-23. Red Rock Resort Sportsbook Director Chuck Esposito said, the game that kind of saved the day for us was the miracle covered by the Rams. The fact that they kicked the field goal knowing time would run out when they did was a huge swing for us. But Chris Andrews, South Point Sportsbook Director, said the Rams field goal at the end killed us. I don't know what they were thinking, but that hurt us. So it was a big decision for the Rams to kick the field goal there. If you'd placed a wager on the game.
I'm still getting over both of those guys and how many kneecaps they've broken.
Yes.
Yeah,
you have to talk that way to run a sports book in Vegas.
Yes, you do. It was not a meaningless one, but do you think though? So Sean McVay had 3 options, right? He could have taken a knee, he could have gone for a touchdown, or he could have kicked a field goal. I think there's some bad blood there, and so he probably want to mix it. Put a little ointment in the water there. But should he have to respond for that meaningless field goal?
Well, it depends. I mean, if anyone in the right mind, and you know this, you've been to more of these things than I have. If someone said, hey, coach, the spread was so-and-so. I mean, if anyone had asked that, they'd never be allowed back in the building.
Whitey, I'm telling you, okay, as legalized gambling becomes more prevalent across this country, and it is in our broadcasts and it's on our radio shows, and we know lines, and we sometimes we judge teams on how good they are, on if they cover, or, good teams win, great teams cover is a line that's used a lot. Coaches and players know the spread because they use it as motivation. So McVay knows what that spread was. He can't play dumb. He knew what the spread is. Now, I don't think he was trying to mess with that, but I think that's a fair question of, hey, coach, the line was 7.5, and you kicked a field goal there. Why? I mean, I would be okay prefacing with that and leading into and to hear his response, because it's just kind of fishy that he did what he did at the end of the game.
On the other hand, I understand where you're coming from. I do think anyone who asks that and brings up the spread, while it's a legitimate question, if you have as you used earlier, you talked about cockles, to ask that question, you be prepared to just get shouted down at the very least. But that said, also, if I'm the coach of the Rams, which I'm not, but I would, as stupid as it sounds, I'd rather lose by 7 than by 10.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to be, I know that people are ticked off, and, most of those people were holding a ticket yesterday.
Yeah. It's a bad beat, baby.
And there were a lot of them in the NFL yesterday. You have, you can take a knee, you can go for a touchdown, short touchdown, or kick the field goal. He had 3 options. I mean, we know Sean McVay, he's not going to take a knee. And in that moment, he thought about kicking a field goal. I wonder if he brought that into his mind of, okay, we're going against the Niners.
Yeah.
We want to make the score look like this.
Maybe one of the beat writers down there will broach that subject. I don't know that he would address it, but
maybe that's on a side session.
Yeah.
But athletes and coaches know spreads, because look at You see it. You're starting to see it more in college, but people will say, "Oh, they doubted us. We were 10-point underdogs." Look, if the Giants without Barkley beat the Niners Thursday night, and that line is about 10.5, and I'm sure it'll bump up just a little without Barkley because of how huge he is. If the Giants win that game, you don't think some guy's going to go, nobody thought about us. Hey, we were 2-touchdown underdog, and we went out and proved it to you guys. Yeah, they know the spread. I'm no longer of they're playing dumb and not going, oh, we were a favorite in this game. Yeah, you know.
I get that, and I think you're right. I just think there's no way that they are going to acknowledge. But is it really only 10.5? That's easy money, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know it's a short week and scores tend to be lower in a short week, but isn't that easy money for 49er fans?
That's what it seems like. And then Barkley is officially out for the game, so it's probably a jump to 11. But yeah, it
so jump on it now is what you're telling us.
Yes, it does seem kind of small. The Giants stayed on the West Coast after playing in Phoenix. I don't know. I think the Niners are coming home. Short week. The way they are built, they don't have any like major injuries compared to the Giants. Yeah, that line.
Right.
I mean that feels like a Thursday night somewhat slog fest that ends up like 21-10.
You know what is going to be a story this week? I would guarantee you, because it's a story every year. Is even though they have a different defensive coordinator now, the 49ers have trouble with running quarterbacks, and Daniel Jones. He can tote the rock a little bit. So I think that's going to be something that's going to pop up here. It'll be interesting to see the extent to which the 49ers need to address that. But they do. Some of them, it's like they used to play Russ twice a year, and he's just elusive anyway. They used to play Kyler, and he had his way with them. Daniel Jones, kind of a different type of animal, not as elusive, but more of a power runner on design runs. But I do think that's something that the 49ers have to be concerned about this week.
Do you think it makes a difference with Steve Wilks?
Yeah.
Because Wilks is, he has seen Daniel Jones before. He saw him. I know they saw him in Carolina last year.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be one of the angles is, all right, the 49ers have issues with this. What are you going to do about it, coach? So, but I think they're going to, I don't know. I think they're going to win the game so easily it's not really going to be an issue. It'll be talked about, but I don't think it's going to matter. And maybe I'm just overestimating how much better the 49ers are, especially again in a short week where I know there kind of more variables because everybody's playing on a more even playing field because everybody's so freaking tired.
It's weird to have a home opener when you're not the Super Bowl champ on a Thursday. I mean, it's just rare to be on the road for 2 games to start the NFL, and then your home opener is a Thursday.
Mm-hmm. Like the 49ers and jump on the 10.5. Gary says. Sharp says.
Hey, can you do that in your Vegas voice, though? This should be a bit on this show.
I'll tell you what, you got to take the 49ers. You can get 10.5 right now. Call now, a toll-free number. I was doing a show once with one of those guys, and it was the weirdest thing because he kept making references, I kid you not, to our sources in Costa Rica. And it's like, what? I'm not kidding. And then he says something about in Seattle with Decaf Metcalf. And we said, all right, we're done. That's the last. We're not having this guy on anymore. That's the end of that. Coming up next, can any of these 0-2 teams, can they save the seasons next? Gary Sharp, Whitey Gleason, Sactown Sports.
It's Whitey and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
And then I was selling pretzels out of a cart in San Francisco at the time.
Like the people who sell them at the arena or at the stadiums? Like, did you have like a holler?
Like a pretzel barker?
Pretzel! Something like that. I don't know.
How would that have gone again?
I don't want to do it in case Chris. I'm sure Chris already cut it. Actually, he can. Pretzel. God, I hate him so much.
It's Whitey and Watkins from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Sactown Sports.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Quick Quack Car Wash.
I'm meteorologist Heather Waldman in the KCRA Weather Center. Nice and cool this evening. That onshore breeze still there. A few clouds building in overnight, but Tuesday will end up with afternoon sun and highs in the low 80s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA News and the KCRA app.
There's just something about fall that makes me want to enjoy every moment. The changing leaves, the pumpkin patches, and you know what else won't last? Quick Quack's new pumpkin spice scented car wash. Text SPICE to 41284 to get 50% off any wash.
If you or someone you know is having thoughts of suicide or experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis, 988 provides 24/7 compassionate support and connection to trained counselors. When you call, text, or chat 988, you'll be quickly connected to trained counselors who will listen to your concerns, provide support, and connect you to additional resources if needed. There is hope. The Lifeline works. You are not alone. For 24/7 support, just call, text, or chat 988.
When you're young, life is full of choices. Don't let opioids like highly addictive and deadly fentanyl take away your life and your choices with just one wrong pill. Addiction is a disease that can affect anyone at any age, but there is a choice to get help for this disease. Find medically proven treatment options, including virtual, at choosemat.org.
I want you to want me.
Gold Country Casino Resort in Oroville presents Cheap Trick live Saturday, October 21st. Get your tickets now at goldcountrycasino.com. Cheap Trick, October 21st at 8 p.m.
Gold Country Casino Resort.
Must be 21 or older.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Uma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Uma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 50 features.
Uma?
Yep. Switching to Uma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Uma.
Now you're feeling it. Find small business calm at ooma.com/radio. That's OOMA.com/radio.
In business, service is everything. Cintas delivers what you need to better serve your customers. Whether it's freshly laundered work apparel for almost any job imaginable, tested and inspected fire protection systems, first aid and safety supplies, on-site AED training, or mops and restroom products, stocked and ready when you need them. Better work days happen together. So visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Safe Credit Union is our local community-based financial partner, and they are committed to the well-being of their members. Jason Ross here, and we all work hard to reach our financial goals, and banking with Safe helps make that a reality. Because with Safe, you always get competitive rates on savings and loans, so you can spend less and save more for your future. If you're not a member yet, give Safe a try and discover all that truly makes Safe one of the best credit unions in California. Join today at safecu.org/join. Safe Credit Union is insured by NCUA.
Oh, he's back.
Who's back?
The clown.
The naked one?
Yes, Giggles. He just drove on the lot in a new Kia.
Does he want to trade it in?
No, he wants to show it off.
Isn't he showing off enough? Oh, here he comes.
See what Elk Grove Kia did for me? That's service. That's why they got my business, not you.
I think we've already seen too much of your business. Thank you.
Elk Grove Kia. Great service for everyone.
Elk Grove Kia has never made it easier for you to show it off. Don't worry about credit. No credit, bad credit, charge-offs, repos. Don't worry. Our team has over 100 years of experience. Others say no. Elk Grove Kia says yes. Get your next Kia today at Elk Grove Kia in the Elk Grove Auto Mall or elkgrovekia.com and show it off today.
Elk Grove Kia.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Sactown Sports.
Headlines. Happy Monday. I'm Simone with your Sactown Sports headlines. San Francisco 49ers able to lock up a gritty 30-23 victory down at SoFi Stadium Sunday afternoon against the Los Angeles Rams.
The game is over and the 49ers have won the game.
Wow. With that dub, the faithful extend their regular season win streak to 9 when sparring with the Rams. Short week for the red and gold as the fellas already have to look to the bright lights of Thursday night football just 3 short days from now. You, of course, can listen to our coverage all week long leading up to Thursday and, of course, listen along right here on Sactown Sports. We're lacing up more football for your Monday night as the Steelers host the Browns tonight with our pregame coverage jumping off at 4:30 and kickoff slated for 5:15 right here on Sactown Sports. I'm Simone. Those are your headlines. Now back to more Sactown Sports.
your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sactown Sports.
Happy National Cheeseburger Day. Gary Sharp, Whitey Gleason with you. That's why we have Gary on today from Nebraska, where they've a lot of beef and a lot of great cheeseburgers. Thanks for sharing your cheeseburger insight with us today, Gary. We appreciate it.
I mean, anything I can add to the show, I'll be over here in the corner again. When you need more food takes, just to holler.
Some sharp cheddar cheese, whatever it takes, right? Yeah, you're all over it.
Well played. Hey,
Yeah.
can I mention something? We are, 2 weeks from Media Day, and then 2 weeks from tomorrow, camp begins for the NBA.
How about
that? I know we have made it through the dog days
Mhm.
of the NBA offseason, and all the excitement, and the big weekend this past weekend celebrating 9/16 and all the things the Kings were doing, and they unveiled the 100-year logo, and they got Fan Fest coming up. We also have Ben Simmons chiming in. Do you have time for me to read this Ben Simmons quote?
Of course, that's one of the worst questions ever. Of course we do.
I owe it to everybody, the fans and everybody, to get back to where I need to be. Get ready for a great year. I have a couple of questions, Whitey, on this.
Uh-huh.
One, did he hurt his back when he was posting that on Instagram?
Mm-hmm.
And who will last longer this year with their respective teams in the New York City metropolitan area, Aaron Rodgers or Ben Simmons?
Fair questions. Did you happen to see Willie Cauley-Stein, the former king, in the news today?
I did. That was kind of interesting.
He says he's going to Europe because what was the term he used? He prefers the more strategic brand of basketball there.
Yeah. I think he was a little bit clouded by the whole FIBA Cup and seeing the U.S. against everybody else.
Willie Cauley-Stein, the famous story about Willie Cauley-Stein here is he didn't like to block shots, and he stopped contesting shots at the rim, and he was asked why. He said, well, I hurt my finger on the rim. I'm not going to do that anymore. So that actually, not only did it happen, but he's like, yeah, why? If I try to block a shot, I might actually hurt my finger on the rim. So that's that really, I think, says everything that needs to be said about Willie Cauley-Stein. But bless him. I hope he has finds happiness and prosperity in Europe.
Yeah, he wasn't on an NBA roster last season. Talk about a guy that went from the 2015 lottery pick to what he is now.
Mhm.
What a strange career that I thought when I saw him in Kentucky, I was like, wow, this guy might have something. But then, he doesn't like the selfish play in the NBA, so he's going to Europe.
I chose to come to Europe because of the more tactical way of playing. How about that? Willie Cauley-Stein.
Yeah. So every European game matters more than 82 of the NBA?
I don't know. I'll have to take a deeper dive into that. Maybe we can get more into that on tomorrow's program, Gary. But thank you for the heads up. Yeah, it's all starting to come together here. It's kind of the fall convergence. We got football, basketball starting, and then we'll have baseball is rapidly approaching its postseason, although I don't know how many people care, unfortunately, but you care and I care. And yeah,
if your team, my team is now slipping after getting swept at Arizona. Huge series coming up for the Giants with the Diamondbacks. One more thing. So as we get closer to the start of the NBA training camp, and of course Media Day, which Sactown Sports will be all over.
Right.
We're getting list season. So I did see before we went on the air, CBSSports.com is doing their list of the top 20 respective position groups in the NBA.
Mhm.
They did their guards, and Steph Curry is number 1. Number 9, so you have Jamal Murray, which is number 8. Trae Young is number 10. De'Aaron Fox is number 9.
So this is just guards, not point guard.
No, they just guards. So they had went Curry, Luka, Devin Booker, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is 5th, and then I'll have to go here and look at the list.
I think the upside for that is that I think from the Kings standpoint, there's still, and I don't know if De'Aaron Fox may not care, he's smart, he may not care, but on some level, there's still that sense of, wow, even after everything the Kings did, they're still being disrespected. And I think that's a good spot for them. It's a little annoying for fans, but I think it's a good place for the team to be, because I think last year they really embraced as a team that whole notion of no one takes us seriously. No one believes that this is legitimate, what we're doing, and we're going to show them. And they especially took that out on teams on the road. So if if the Kings are being slighted in any way, shape, or form, I think that actually sets up nicely for them.
I agree, because of their core that is all coming back, and they went through what they went through last year. Lillard is number 4. It is And I think because that's our team, and we talk about them, and we embraced what happened last year. And I tell you, the excitement is ramping up for this year to do it again. It is disingenuous for the national NBA people to kind of slight that the Kings were the number 3 seed. I mean, yeah, a lot of things had to come together, and the Kings had one of those magical years, but not to recognize that the Kings were a 3 seed last year, I think does a disservice. You're not doing your job very well if you just poo-poo that the Kings were a number 3 seed. Yeah, they got knocked out in the first round, but none of those guys had been through that together before. They got a learning experience. I mean, I hear that continuously when you're starting to look at this year as, oh, everybody's going to be healthy and they'll be better. So the Kings will probably fall into that. They'll be in that fighting for that play-in. Come on, people. If you liked what the Kings did last year, you really think there's going to be 1 or 2 guys who are going to take a significant step back, that they're not going to be racing for 44, 45 wins with a chance to find 3 or 4 more to be where they were last year?
The thing that's surprising to me, and I think it says a lot about the way people evaluate basketball teams, perhaps inaccurately, is you look at Sacramento, and they were very good last year, had some defensive weaknesses clearly. They added JaVale McGee. He could help there. You add Vezenkov. He could be a big help with his shooting. Then you look at what Phoenix did, and Phoenix has done some interesting things, but you plug Bradley Beal into that, and they did a better job than I think people expected filling out the roster. But still, how does that team – they don't have a point guard. How do you look at that team and go, oh, well, there's 50 wins just because of the names? We get carried away with basketball teams and superstars kind of the same way as we look at quarterbacks sometimes. Well, he throws for all these yards and all these touchdowns, and sometimes that's not really what matters. And I think the Kings are going to give those people another lesson this year.
Yeah,
I hope.
The NBA is built on star power, and we do ignore teams that are built on being a team. And that's what the Kings are.
Yes.
But the Kings do it. De'Aaron Fox is a star.
Yes.
It's just he needs an extended stay in the postseason for more of the country to realize how good he is. Because people on this side of the country, they know how good he is because they watch him on a continuous basis. He just needs that second round of the playoffs for everybody to go, whoa, that guy is Mr. Clutch. He's a dude. But we like the stars. We don't necessarily like the teams. And that's what the Kings are. But that's okay. I imagine when they get together for training camp and they get everybody together, they're going to talk about the common goal again is, you know what? We got to worry about ourselves.
Yeah.
And De'Aaron Fox, he's treated like the same guy at the end of the bench. We're all in this together.
Yeah.
And I think with Mike Brown, that works perfectly because I don't know that Mike Brown could prosper coaching a team that has a mega superstar. We've already seen that in Cleveland, and then some complementary pieces. I think the Sacramento Kings setup is perfect for Mike Brown.
And I do think, to your point, we get a little carried away with our home team, perhaps. Sabonis and Fox, they literally were stars last year. They're all stars. So they literally were stars. And I think there's a very good chance Keegan Murray makes that step this year. Maybe not this year, maybe the next year, but I don't think it's unreasonable to think that he can be, I don't know if he's going to make an all-star team, but he's got the ability to be a star player, whether people care to notice or not, as soon as this year.
Yeah, there's like nobody that is like, okay, now they got a lot of tread on the tires. They're probably not going to be able to do what they did last year. Like all the core is young, and the core still has not tapped their head on the ceiling yet. That's what gives me hope that they're going to find a way to navigate another season where they actually become a big game for teams when they roll into MSG in the winter and they go, well, it's not a layup. We're not just rolling over and we're going to beat the Kings. The Kings are a big deal. That'll be something they'll have to encounter, especially in the West. But I think guys, everybody is primed to make that next jump. And nobody is primed because of their age to take a step back.
And Gary, here's the thing. If those player participation policies have any teeth, and they may not, but if they have any teeth, what teams are they going to impact? The Suns have a lot of older guys. You got to play your older guys.
Yeah.
The Clippers, the Warriors, and the Lakers. So who would benefit from that if they're not able to manage the loads of their older guys?
Yeah.
Sacramento Kings.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, Kawhi Leonard showed up at the Colorado State game. He'll show up to watch college football, but he won't show up to play on his own team.
Coming up, we'll look at these 0-2 teams. Can they still save their seasons? And intentional grounding, doesn't it have to be intentional? I'm a little confused here. Maybe you can help me with that next. Sharp and Gleason, Sactown Sports.
Can Mike Brown build on last season's Coach of the Year award? Can the Kings exceed 48 wins?
We will be better prepared to make the run that we expect to run come next playoff.
Tune into every Kings game this season on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Bonnie.
I'm meteorologist Heather Waldman in the KCRA Weather Center. Nice and cool this evening. That onshore breeze still there. A few clouds building in overnight, but Tuesday will end up with afternoon sun and highs in the low 80s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA News and the KCRA app.
Plumbing, electrical, heating and air, everything that makes your home your home. With Bonnie, you sure got that covered. And right now, get your air conditioner tuned up for just $79. Originally $129. Bonnie.com.
Bonnie. Thunder, feel the thunder.
It ignites something inside of you.
Lightning and the thunder.
It's a new era in entertainment. Experience legendary performers like never before. All new and all incredible. This is the venue. See it, hear it, feel it.
Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder.
Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Feel the thunder.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-330-2929. That's 800-330-2929. 800-330-2929.
Folsom Lake Ford has trucks. The F-150s are here. Explorers, Expeditions, and a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports. They're in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford. Shop Folsom Lake Ford, your truck headquarters, right here in Sacramento for your favorite Ford models at good, fair prices. Short on cash? Buy any new Ford with 0 down. Save big with low interest finance rates. Plus, Folsom Lake Ford is paying top dollar for all trades. We want your vehicle regardless of mileage or condition. This could be the best time to buy a new Ford. Check out the huge inventory online at folsomlakeford.com or stop by the dealership and see the most recent arrivals. Looking for something special? Give them a call and tell them Doug Christie sent you. Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall, your trusted dealer, my trusted dealer for over 30 years. FolsomLakeFord.com. 0
down with approved credit.
Your new home for 49ers football in the 916, Sactown Sports.
More Foo Fighters for you there, Gary.
And by the way, I did not catch the great Willie Cauley-Stein impersonation that people like on the stream. Could we do a Willie Cauley-Stein in Sacramento 30 for 30? So I think
we only have like 17. I don't know if we'd make it for the full 30.
But you think about like the bat blank crazy, like his time in Sacramento from, you get Mike Malone gets fired. Here comes George Karl. George Karl hates him. Before he ever gets to Sacramento, John Calipari just crushes the Kings franchise about, hey, this is what you're going into. Good luck. I would be curious with the amount of Kentucky guys on the current roster, as Calipari's viewpoint of Sacramento changed, because back in 15, he told Willie Cauley-Stein, man, that's a bad place. Good luck. But then you had his rookie year, and then what you brought up about why he doesn't block shots anymore. He had some trouble off the floor. I'm just thinking that was such a wild time in Sacramento for a guy that was a lottery pick that you thought the defense on that 14-15 team was so bad that he was going to fix it, and they got worse.
He was just, I think, and, bless him, he's made a career playing basketball. I don't know that basketball is the most important thing to him, and that's not a criticism. He can play. I think he's a very creative guy. The thing I remember about him, too, is he compared himself to Porzingis when he was here. And these were things that he said publicly. I'm not, assuming these things. He talked about how I could do some of the things that Porzingis does, and he believed that. And he thought he had more offensive game than he was allowed to show. And it's like, no, you just don't. So he just didn't really have a clear understanding of what he could be doing to best help his team and further his career. On the other hand, he's still playing professionally. So I have no ill will towards him. Good for him. But I'm not sure he ever quite saw the truest path to being an effective player in the NBA for him.
No, and I think George Karl was not the ideal coach for him, just not as a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
There was just, George Karl doesn't like rookies. And he needed a coach that was a development coach. And George Karl thought he was going to come in and win right away, which was kind of weird if you looked at that roster at the time.
That's a good point, because I remember I was down there. I happened to be in La Jolla for something with the family, and they were opening camp down there then. So I went to see Kings camp, and even then, George was talking about the rookie. He would refer to him as the rookie. It's like, I know what you're trying to do, but is it really helping, coach? And then he would talk about it. Cousins is crazy, and reporters would laugh, and he'd go, no, I'm not joking. Cousins is crazy. And we had no idea. Really, we had no idea already that thing was already, starting to go off the rails a little bit. Let me ask you this, dear football fan, Gary Sharp. I saw 2 instances yesterday of calls in football games that left me a little baffled. We all saw one if you watched the 49er game. It happened once to Matt Stafford, and it happened once to Geno Smith. And that was a case where the quarterback's back to throw, and he thinks the receiver is going somewhere. He thinks the receiver is going to run a deep route. So he throws it there. The receiver doesn't go there, and then there's a flag, intentional grounding. It's very funny in the case of Geno Smith because, as the official was saying, intentional grounding, and Geno ran up to him and said, no, he ran the wrong route. And did you see this? The official says, excuse me, I'm talking to America, which was tremendous.
So it's the second straight week that Geno has gotten caught on the ref's hot mic. That's a brutal intentional grounding call.
Yes, and they called one on Stafford. Same thing, where he thought the receiver should go deep, and he didn't. He broke off the route or didn't recognize that. So it's intentional grounding. It was not intentional. I just thought, Gary, doesn't intentional grounding have to be intentional? I guess not. Maybe they need to change the rule.
Yeah, it was like you said. It was clearly a miscommunication between the wide receiver and quarterback. And if I believe this is correct, like I've seen it quote tweeted, is to be intentional grounding, the quarterback has to be under duress.
Yes. I checked the rule today. You're right.
Yeah, they weren't under duress. Miss Dean Blandino, Mike Pereira, Gene Steratore.
Yeah. Gene Skeletor, as we like to call him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just baffling because, and Pete Carroll went nuts, but that was called in 2 games. So it was an education, but there was no motivation for the quarterback. He wasn't trying to avoid a sack. So that was just a puzzler to me. It's like,
so that's, okay. There's the intent of the law. And then, like using common sense, like you could clearly see there, okay, throw the flag, but then they have to have a discussion about, okay, it was a miscommunication. The wide receiver in the Seahawks Lions game just cut off his route too short. Geno thought he was going towards the pylon. It was just an overthrow. I mean, okay, throw your flag. I get it. But then let's have a discussion and let's make a sensible call.
Yes.
I thought yesterday was a rough day around the league for officiating.
You mentioned that. What stood out to you?
Well, there was a touchdown where I guess you can't be on your tippy toes in the Falcons Green Bay game in the back of the end zone.
Oh, yeah. That was, yeah.
Okay, and then there was at the 2-point conversion where the Broncos tried to tie it. I mean, that's clearly a pass interference call that there was no, hey, we got to go. We got dinner, downtown.
I would agree with you on that, except having picked Washington to win, I thought it was a terrific call. I thought it was a terrific no call. It's pro football. Yeah, that was alarming. Pass interference is, I don't know, the interpretations on pass interference they've just gotten worse. I mentioned on the previous show in the crossover with Zachariah and Chris, Sheena, my wife's a big basketball fan, and we watch football, but she asked the question. She said, so is it like basketball where at the end they just let them do anything? And I thought, maybe, I don't know, maybe she's on. It didn't used to be, and it's not supposed to be, but I think maybe we saw a little of that yesterday.
Or you're afraid to throw the flag? Yeah, no, I could buy that. It's just, this is me, a basketball guy, with trying to tie in football. I always have been, if it is a foul in the first quarter, it's a foul in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep it consistent,
Right.
If you're not going to call in the first quarter, don't all of a sudden start calling in the fourth quarter.
Right.
And I think there is some of that in the NFL where at the end they kind of let them mean mug each other. But if it's blatant, man, you got to throw a flag.
Yeah. And like I said, watching with my heart, I was hoping that it'd be incomplete, but I don't know how you could not call pass interference on that Denver 2-point conversion try. How could you look at that? Anyone look at that, especially an official whose job it is to watch it and determine whether it was interference and then come away from that and say, no interference. I don't understand. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah, and then we get the Sunday night game last night between the Dolphins and the Patriots, and it was legal what they did, but how they went about blocking the kick where they put the guy in motion, which Belichick is still a genius, at least for a couple of minutes. And now every football team in America, regardless of age, is attempting to put that into their playbook to block a field goal. I thought the officials, because it was so quirky and you'd never seen it before, somehow they would throw a flag. Fortunately, they didn't, and it was legal. But it's just there also is this thing, and this is across all of our sports. There are way too many rules for these men and women that are officials, whether they be in Pop Warner or they high school or college or pro. There are so many things that they have to remember. I get it, it's their job. But you know what? Sometimes we have to use common sense when it comes to letting them do their job.
If I were an offensive lineman, I would hold every play. I've mentioned that. I don't know about you. And I'd never be an offensive lineman. I realize I'm not big enough. But if I were, I realize I would hold on every single play.
Yeah, they're not going to call it. And you know the other thing you do, because this happens against my NFL team, when people play the Chiefs, look at how many defensive backs wear red gloves.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Or the offensive linemen wear red gloves.
Do you think that they should just go back to the old rules where you can just knock receivers down anywhere you want to?
Well, that might be a little much. I mean, then we might as well add the quarterback is fair game.
Yeah. Are there any 0-2 teams here, Gare, that you think can still salvage the season? We have 8 teams that are off to 0-2 starts. We have Arizona, Chicago, Minnesota, Denver, the Chargers, the Texans, the Bengals, and the Patriots. We mentioned that, as you know, last year Cincinnati started 0-2, made the playoffs. So is there any hope for any of those teams? Arizona, Chicago, Minnesota, Denver, Chargers, Texans, Bengals, New England Patriots.
I think the only one is Cincinnati because of Burrow, and they have a really, really good roster. He just needs to get healthy. And they're not they because of his calf, they're not calling the kind of plays they would in the past. But I think here's 2 0-2 teams, Whitey, and maybe you feel the same way or you think this is Minnesota is going to be in an interesting spot because what if the Jets find a way to get some traction and they come calling for Kirk Cousins, and then I think Staley is done in Los Angeles. I think the Charger fans deserve better, and they are chargering. Justin Herbert, his last 4 games has put up unbelievable numbers. They're 0-4, and including that blown lead against Jacksonville in the postseason. What happened to them yesterday to do what they did and still lose that game? Man, you got to look in the mirror and say, man, Staley he's not meeting the moment for what we've assembled.
I would suggest, and perhaps I'm crazy, that Minnesota still has a chance if nobody in that division takes off, because they, it's clearly some of these teams you look at and it's like, what's wrong with us? Minnesota, it's crystal clear. We can't keep giving the ball to the other team. If they clean that up, I thought they had their moments against Philadelphia. I thought for a while they were in that game. I still think that's a team that might have a chance to turn their season around.
Hey, Skoll, I'm with you. Because, look, if you're 0-2 in the NFC East, you're done. If you're 0-2 in the NFC North, you're like, we're just getting started.
Yeah.
I mean, you got the Bears, you got the Packers, you got the Lions. So, I'm with you with the Vikings. I will add them to the list. I think the Vikings are a good team that if they cut down the turnovers, then they're going to be fine, especially, playing, 6 games in that division.
When we come right back, 2 49ers who turned, they were question marks before yesterday. They turned themselves into exclamation marks in that victory. That is next here. It's Gleason and Sharp, Sactown Sports.
It's the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross.
Who do they decide on for the Super Bowl?
What do you mean, halftime act?
Yeah. I know that Taylor Swift.
Yeah, turned them down, right?
At what point do people turn on Taylor Swift to be like, why don't you lower your prices? And I understand the whole Ticketmaster thing, but what about the merch? Like, legit, do you have to make $1 billion? Could you make 500 million? Could you?
The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on Sactown Sports.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? My check engine light's on?
That could hurt your gas mileage. The AutoZone free Fix Finder service can help find the fix for free.
This whole report for free?
That's right, printed and on your phone for free.
But what if the fix is too tough?
We'll recommend a local shop. Fix Finder, only at AutoZone. AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
Klein tools are new at Lowe's, pros. Lowe's knows you want top brands and quality products, and Klein Tools delivers. Right now, get the Klein 3-piece Modbox mobile workstation for $319.94 and the Klein 5-piece cushion grip screwdriver set for just $34.97, both exclusively at Lowe's. Shop the largest selection of Klein tools, the highest quality tool brand at Lowe's. Because Lowe's knows tools, Lowe's knows pros.
It's time to trade in and trade up at Northern California's #1 Honda dealer, Stockton Honda. Whether you're shopping new or pre-owned, Stockton Honda has the selection and savings. Plus, get top dollar for your trade. Come in today or go to StocktonHonda.com. It's all a click away.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Claim based on 2022 total new and Honda certified pre-owned vehicle car sales from American Honda Motor Company's own lawn report.
As a mom, I'd do anything to keep my child out of physical pain. As a doctor, I know that growth spurts can cause pain in my child's feet, and that can affect their legs and back too.
This is Dr. Pamela Maida, a board-certified orthopedic surgeon.
Children especially benefit from arch supports as a sturdy and supportive foundation for their developing feet. If your kids have pain, then I recommend Youth Arch Supports from the Good Feet store.
Youth Arch Supports are designed to alleviate, even eliminate common pain in the feet, knees, hip, or back. If your child is physically active with sports, clubs, or even on the playground, they may benefit from the comfort and support found in Good Feet Youth Arch Supports.
I firmly believe that investing in Youth Arch Supports for your child or teen is one of the best decisions you can make to support their feet.
See how Youth Arch Supports can help with a free arch support fitting and test walk at the Good Feet store.
Good Feet in Sacramento, Roseville, Stockton, Modesto, and Vacaville.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Rizep, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, your home for the Oakland A's every weekend.
And it's swung on line to left center, base hit, and the A's have won it on a walk-off line drive, base hit to left center.
Sactown Sports. Sactown Sports.
Headlines. Happy Monday. I'm Simone with your Sactown Sports headlines. San Francisco 49ers able to lock up a gritty 30-23 victory down at SoFi Stadium Sunday afternoon against the Los Angeles Rams.
The game is over and the 49ers have won the game.
Wow.
With that dub, the faithful extend their regular season win streak to 9 when sparring with the Rams. Short week for the red and gold as the fellas already have to look to the bright lights of Thursday night football just 3 short days from now. You, of course, can listen to our coverage all week long leading up to Thursday and, of course, listen along right here on Sactown Sports. We're lacing up more football for your Monday night as the Steelers host the Browns tonight with our pregame coverage dumping off at 4:30 and kickoff slated for 5:15 right here on Sactown Sports. I'm Simone. Those are your headlines. Now back to more Sactown Sports.
The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sactown Sports.
And we got a Monday Night Football doubleheader Gary Sharp, Whitey Gleason taking you up to kickoff of the second game, a staggered doubleheader. Why? We're not exactly sure. Gary, it looks like Disney, ESPN, they've decided they've got a couple games here. They want to stagger them and just judge some things in terms of viewership habits to help them determine how to schedule these games down the road. But hey, 2 games on Monday night, I'll take it.
Yeah. Hey, would you? Okay, so to me the best sports viewing time zone is the Pacific.
Yes.
So the West Coast. Tough for me to get used to 10 a.m. football on a Sunday where I'm used to noon football. But would you be opposed to we have an East Coast game that starts at, let's say, 5, like right now, 4 o'clock Sacramento time, and then we get the 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, West Coast game.
So you're talking about basically an NFL version of the TNT doubleheader.
Yes,
right?
on Monday night.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I mean, who wouldn't be opposed? We don't care about the people on the East Coast. Okay, you got to go to bed early. That's okay. You don't care about us. You don't talk about our sports out here unless we're LeBron. Okay, so you guys stay over there. But I think as a football fan, I like it. I love football. I want more football. I don't know that 2 games competing against each other would be great. I would rather see them staggered. But in this case, it is an interesting experiment and good for the NFL. Well, good for ESPN saying, hey, we want a Super Bowl and we want extra inventory. But good for the NFL saying, hey, we're going to try this. Now, do we get on TV, I imagine Aikman and Buck are in Pittsburgh?
I believe so. That's a good question. I was just going to ask you, do you remember when ESPN early in the year, they would traditionally have, I think it was the first week of the season, the doubleheader. Do you remember when they'd have some goofy announcing teams? And one time they had Mike Greenberg, Greeny and Gullick actually did. Yeah. I did an interview a couple years after that with Mike Greenberg. And he told us in the interview, he said, I don't think I've ever told anyone this before, but he said, that was the hardest thing I ever did in my life. And, they weren't terrific. I don't think but that's difficult to do if you're not doing it all the time.
So I just looked up. So Fowler is doing the game that starts in a little bit between the Panthers and the Saints.
And Louis Riddick is with him, I think.
Yes, which is a great call.
Yeah.
He was with Mark Jones at the Colorado game the other night. Okay. So they used to have, because Fowler and Herbstreit would do that second Monday night game. When Herbstreit was, that was like his introduction to the NFL. He was doing a game a year with Fowler.
Yeah.
So they said they use their college football guys to do an NFL game. And then all the NFL people would lose their mind because, what do they know? They're just college guys.
And they're still losing their mind over Herbstreit on Thursday Night Football. At least some people are. So I think it's tough to work with Al Michaels if you're not John Madden. And I think Herbie's trying to still find his way. But I'll tell you, somebody who, there's always the talk about Tony Romo who doesn't like the sound of silence. But I'm really struggling with Collinsworth, Whitey. And you've done, in all fairness, someone who may not know, you're the voice of Nebraska football, right? So you've done a lot of football announcing.
Yes. But like Collinsworth, he's like trying way too hard. Like the Thursday night game, he was like, wait till the country finds out about Patrick Mahomes. What are you talking about? And then last night, hey, Tua's 5-0 against Belichick, and when healthy and that speed, you bring in the defense. Miami's a good team, and they're a threat in the AFC. But he compared Tua to Dan Marino. I'm like, what are we doing? Are we clickbaiting here? What are we doing, Collinsworth? He's trying too hard.
I'll say this, just to counter. How about that opener, Detroit and the Chiefs? I thought Chris Collinsworth did a great job of pointing out that the Chiefs' right tackle was nowhere near lined up where he should have been. I thought he made some good points there.
No, I do like him. I just sometimes
it doesn't sound like it, Garrett. It sounds like you've got some long-standing Collinsworthian grudge, and I think it's about time you came clean.
So maybe it's his son. So I'm a little biased towards that. He's trying too hard, and I also think like Al Michaels, when the game is a blowout, is entertaining because you know that the gambling aspect's going to come in. I think like when the Cowboy Giant game, which was a blowout last Sunday, Mike Tirico isn't a good blowout announcer. Like he doesn't transition to
it's not
being
easy.
Funny.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
It's not. It's not.
Who's your dream booth? Who's in the Gary Sharp dream booth for NFL dream booth?
Do they have to be alive?
No, but you do have to include a sideline reporter.
Ooh. So I got to go. So I grew up with Summerall and Madden, and I thought they were a great combination. And I liked Al Michaels and Madden. Sideline reporter.
So you don't have a 3-man booth then, right? Because there was just the two of them.
Oh, I am opposed to 3-man booth. They're
or 3-person booth, I should say.
Excuse me, 3-person booth. I don't need Dennis Miller. I don't need Tony Kornheiser. I don't need that weird combination of putting in another person because there's just way too many people. Or what Brian Greasy and Booger they used to have before ESPN, which is finally for the first time figured out the right Monday Night Football combination with Buck Aikman and then Scott Van Pelt hosting pre and post.
Yeah.
I think they have found the right combination. They got Lisa Salters on the sideline. My sideline reporter.
Remember when? I'm sure you remember. It wasn't that long ago. Booger McFarland, they put him in that crane or whatever it was. And
the Boogermobile.
Yeah. What are we trying to do here?
Yeah, they were trying too hard. That's what some people do in this business. They try way too hard.
Lisa Salters is very good.
Yeah, you know what? I do like Pam Oliver. Your dream 3-person crew to do the NFL.
I go way back to the early days of Monday Night Football, but that doesn't mean I thought it was great. I think I would go. I think I would go Al Michaels. I think Al Michaels overall, and he used to do Giants baseball years ago. I think I would go Al Michaels, and I think you have to go Madden. And then sidelines. I'm gonna go. Yeah, I would go Lisa Salters. Not too exciting, but I'll take it. I think it's a rock solid broadcast crew right there.
Do you think we can make Monday Night Football special again?
No, because I think that just happened organically. The novelty wore off. It was a natural thing. And I remember Monday Night Football. Yes. This is great.
Your parents probably let you stay up late?
They didn't let me, but I was going to anyway. But then, it got to a point where, it's another game. And especially now there are so many partners that it's hard to have those great, matchups every week for all of the different outlets. So it just kind of has happened naturally. It's just not a very special thing anymore to people who aren't football fans. We were just talking, Simone and Jay and I were talking about how it seems like there are a lot of younger fans for whom, well, they're not even fans. It's just like, there's so many other things to do than sports, which is probably healthier. But it's the NFL, just none of the sports with people cutting cords, none of it has the draw that it used to have.
Yeah, and I know we're always trying to get the younger demo. The thing about it, I never thought that we would get to a point, and I think this also has to do with the broadcast crew. ESPN has had like a revolving door. Again, I think they finally got it right. They have a better relationship with the NFL, so they're getting better games. But never in my wildest dreams did I think we would make Sunday Night Football the marquee spot for the NFL.
By the way, Erin Andrews just got a vote. Good for her here on the chat for the Dream Sideline Report.
Now tonight, if you tune in, whether it be for the game that just is getting started or the game that you can hear here on the radio, but also on TV, the Steelers-Browns game, they're always trying to get the younger demo. They have a new Monday Night Football theme song.
Yeah, you were telling me about that.
So you and I, or a little bit of Hank before Hank got canceled, is Chris Stapleton is doing the cover of the Phil Collins In the Air tonight. But Snoop Dogg is involved as well, and Cindy Blackman. We've both had a listen. This might have some legs. This actually might be really good.
I am old-fashioned, and I think it should have its own original song. I'm sorry. I want its own original music for the event. I don't want a cover of Phil Collins.
Even with Chris Stapleton, who I would love to hear a Phil Collins cover album.
Especially with Chris Stapleton. I understand it's going to be more recognizable, but wasn't it great when you can remember all the themes? I'm sure it was great when you knew a song, and that song, it was, didn't they use that song also for this game? No, it was like, yes, that was the theme for, Round Ball Rock or whatever.
Yeah, NBC, and when NBC was carrying the NBA, which they might be coming back to the, NBC with NBC and TNT maybe making a bid with the contract up. I'm with you that when you hear a theme, like we've been having fun with the Monday Night Football theme, the original, and so people immediately think of Monday Night Football. And there was a remix recently that they've used for a couple of years. I'm okay with trying it.
waiting all day for Sunday night.
Now that's one you can't change because Carrie Underwood is like a part of our life now.
Mhm.
On Sunday night, it's, at 5:15, you're like, here, where's Carrie?
Mhm.
You push your wife aside and go, I need some Carrie for like a couple of minutes. And then your wife comes back into the picture or your significant other.
I find myself intentionally making sure I miss that portion of the telecast now. I don't care about the music as much as I used to.
Yeah, but it's Carrie.
Yeah, well, that's fine. Just I want to watch the game. Okay, I want to watch the game.
But you're a music guy. You have to. This is the crazy thing about this new theme because we react because we're sports fans to score bugs like they're too large or they're in the way, or theme songs. Is the Phil Collins song has lasted for about 45 years. That's the amazing part, that it has become iconic and pop culture-ish, that you attach In the Air Tonight with now a new Monday Night Football theme song or Hangover.
Yes, absolutely. Here's the thing, though. How much do you think that costs to produce? A lot of money, right? When you consider the time.
That video looked pretty fancy.
Yeah. What if they'd have just not even had a theme song? Okay. Would it make any difference?
Oh.
Would it make any difference? Would people say, well, I was going to watch the game, but there's no theme song, so no, I'll watch something else.
No, I'm going back to something you said. You got to make it special, you got to have a theme song. What if every show you do on this radio station, they just, Jay just turns on the mic and he says, you're hot.
Uh-huh.
You got no theme song. It's not special.
Uh-huh. Well, I'm just saying for the, in terms of the cost effectiveness of that big production, I'll give it a shot. You like it, right? You're pro new Monday Night Football theme.
Yeah, I wonder if they will incorporate the old theme, but this is kind of new because they're trying to draw in a younger demographic.
Really?
And Chris
with a Phil Collins song?
Well, you get Chris Stapleton and Snoop.
Uh-huh.
They're trying to hit.
I actually thought it was Sheila E., but it's not Sheila E., is it?
No.
I thought, no. Okay.
No.
I did when I first glanced.
Where did that come from?
Well, on the drums when I first saw it, I wondered if that.
I got you. Yeah.
So my bad on that. All right. Yes, we will come back with hopefully Chris answering this question for me. How is the NFC 6-0 against the AFC so far? I don't get it. Next year, it's Whitey Gleason and Gary Sharp, Sactown Sports.
Has Monty put together a roster that can help make a deep playoff run this season?
Just trying to give coach options, give him guys that can help us win in a variety of areas. Obviously, our top guys are going to play every game, but there's going to be other times, whether it's injuries, matchups, we've got to have some variety on the bench for coach to point to and say, go in there and help us win.
Tune into every Kings game this season
on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Model Year End pricing is back at Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
During the Model Year End event, lower interest rates at Folsom Lake Honda make lower payments. It's no wonder why Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop. Come in today or check out our entire inventory online at FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda.
Go to FolsomLakeHonda.com.
Your one-stop Honda shop.
Hey, you want to be around people having a great time? You need to come check out Capital Casino, offering the most varieties of table games in the region in the friendliest environment. Come for the food, which is awesome, of course, and stay and play. Conveniently located in downtown Sacramento at 411 North 16th Street, right there in downtown Sacramento for over 20 years. Cap Casino, best food, best games, and of course, the best action. And please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Sacramento's official home for the San Francisco 49ers.
Sactown Sports.
Well, we were talking about teams that have gotten off to an 0-2 start. Cincinnati Bengals, one of them, and it may not get much better for them anytime soon. Whitey Gleason, Gary Sharp with you, taking you up to kickoff here for the second Monday Night Football game of the night. The Saints and the Lions already underway, but here's the deal. Burrow aggravated his calf injury in Sunday's loss to the Ravens, and his availability, Joe Burrow's availability for Cincinnati's Week 3 game against the Rams for Monday Night Football. Hard to say, says Zach Taylor. Taylor says Burrow's calf still sore less than 24 hours after the defeat to the Ravens. When asked about the possibility of resting Burrow for a week or two to give him time to recover from the injury, Taylor said it depends on the advice of the medical staff. So Gary Sharp last year, Bengals started 0-2. They rallied, got into the playoffs this year. Some of it may hinge on the health of their quarterback as to whether they're able to even approach anything close to that.
The AFC isn't off to a great start. And again, they're in the division where you could have the Browns tonight being 2-0 with the Ravens. I don't know. Maybe it's the Monday Night Football jinx. Aaron Rodgers goes down last week on Monday Night Football. Burrow might not play. I think it's the wise move if he's not 100%, because I'm just watching Zach Taylor, and they're not running their offense because he can't do some things on that bad calf. So if they think, shouldn't the Bengals with the rest of their roster be able to beat the Rams? Aren't they good enough that they could beat the Rams without Joe Burrow?
Joe Burrow is just so important in everything they do, though. It's not, it's a different situation than what the 49ers have, where let's plug in a backup and we should be able to function on most of our cylinders. They rely so much on what Joe Burrow does. I don't know. And plus, they're not playing well as it is.
Yeah, they're like Jamar Chase hasn't gotten off to a great start. Higgins hasn't gotten off to a great start. Orlando Brown, who they picked up, they spent a lot of money on that offensive line to protect Burrow. Yeah, they've gotten off to a really, really choppy start, but you can't be 0-3. There's the percentage out there of if you start 0-2, 10% of the teams that start 0-2 will make the postseason. You start 0-3, and I think you might as well start looking at what you're going to do for the draft.
As for the 49ers, short week, they have the Giants, and as you may have heard, MRI showed that Saquon Barkley suffered an ordinary ankle sprain. So he's expected to be sidelined for 3 weeks, according to Adam Schefter today. So that means, of course, no Saquon Barkley against the 49ers. So that means, as Gary Sharp told you earlier, if you can get 10.5 on that game, 49ers, you want to jump on that. You want to jump on that before it's too late because that number is going to go up. Gary?
I think you should have a gambling show. And I think you should do 30 minutes, like at 6 o'clock on Thursday nights, you should do 30 minutes in that voice and just break down all the NFL lines. And then you bring in friends. You got your friend from Italy. You got some other friends from New York.
Got sources from Costa Rica. I'll tell you what they think.
You got a guy, that the first thing he asks is, whose car are we taking?
That's right. Yeah. Pretty soon we'll all be doing gambling shows. I think that's where we're all headed. And that's just the way things are going. Why is it that right now the NFC, the inferior conference, is 6-0 against the AFC, Gary Sharp? What is going on? We demand answers because I don't have any.
I think, okay, so let's go back let's go the different way. If I went to your blog and I had Whitey Gleason's power rankings after week number 2, who's your 1, 2, and 3 team?
I don't do power rankings, so there wouldn't be any, but I'll play anyway.
Thank you very much.
1, 2, and 3.
We didn't rehearse this before.
I got to go San Francisco, and then I guess begrudgingly I got to put Dallas up there, and then maybe the Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay, so those are 3 out of the NFC. If you look at like the perceived top 3 teams in the AFC, Kansas City's 1-1, got beat by Detroit. Buffalo is 1-1, and then Cincinnati is 0-2. So I don't know.
Actually, I would have to put Miami up in my top 3, but your point still stands. Yeah.
No, and I would be with you. I think Miami is probably 4 or 5, like off to a start. But no, I think that the top of the NFC has held up their own, whether it be out of conference or in conference, compared to what the AFC has done.
Here's what's fascinating to me, and I said last week, week 1 overreaction. The Dolphins and the 49ers are going to be in the Super Bowl. It's going to be a rematch of Montana versus Marino.
How great would that be?
Yeah, it would be
Just
tremendous, wouldn't it? Yeah. The cool thing is that they're basically running the same system. Mike McDaniel, part of the Shanahan coaching tree, if you will, but they have different emphasis on it. The Dolphins have more of the speed and the deep ball, and the 49ers rely more on the yards after. They both rely on yards after catch, but the 49ers rely more on toughness from their receivers. It's just fascinating to me. They have the same system, but 2 different ways of emphasizing how you make that system work for you. I would love to see that matchup.
Yeah, I would love to hear the talk around each fan base's quarterback, because you'd have Purdy against Tua, because Tua gets run through the ringer. I don't know. Tua is a winner to me. He won at Alabama.
Yep.
He's when he's healthy, he has won in the NFL. I'm not going to knock the guy, but it's kind of like we've had a discussion a lot today, Whitey, about Purdy, and I mentioned moving the goalposts, and people are like, he's 2-0, but he didn't do It's kind of the same way with Tua. He's beaten Belichick 5 straight times. He's 5-0 against him. But does the Dolphin fan fully expect Tua to win a game, even on the heels of that 46-yard performance at SoFi Week 1 against the Chargers? That would be an interesting storyline on the two quarterbacks and how they got to the respective teams, how they navigated things to get to the Super Bowl. But that would be a great Super Bowl matchup. That would be a lot of fun. There'd be a lot of storylines.
Yes.
I think that would be a Super Bowl that would do huge numbers on CBS.
That's the one I'm hoping for. What do you think of this? I mentioned this a couple weeks ago based on what had been said in the offseason by Robert Kraft. And I also mentioned this a couple weeks ago, and I was on with Kyle Draper, and he spent some time in Boston, and he says, there's nothing to that. If the Patriots really struggle this year, is there any chance Belichick's seat gets, if not hot, at least pretty warm?
It has to be.
I think so.
If you're the owner, you cannot afford to slip further behind. I don't know. The mystique is Belichick is a GOAT, but the mystique is not there. Like they used to be cutting edge, and he would come out, especially with defensive stuff, and he would really, really mess up quarterbacks. They don't have that anymore. Tom Brady probably covered up, Whitey, a lot of things late in his Patriot career that were ailing the Patriots, but Brady was so good and had Gronkowski, and they had other really good players that you didn't see the warning signs. And now he's not there. He hasn't been there for a couple of years, and the warning signs are real. But I think the mystique is it's not the same. Ironically, they're saying the same thing at Alabama, and Nick Saban and Belichick are kind of cut from the same cloth.
Yeah, that's a great point. And it doesn't matter so much what I think or what you think, but Robert Kraft, again, had said something around the league meetings. He'd kind of indicated, Bill's great. He's done great things, but at some point we have to win. At some point we have to start winning again. So as odd as it sounds.
Here's the thing. We also have to bring the fans into it. They charge a lot of money to go to Gillette Stadium. It's out in the middle of nowhere. It's closer to Providence than it is Boston. But Providence never gets any love on the national broadcast. But that is one of the highest ticket prices for an NFL ticket, season tickets, and with the personal seat license. Those people at some point are going to go, I got loyalty to the Patriots, but I'm not paying for this kind of stuff. And that's probably when you say, oh boy, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
But also I don't think you don't fire a guy like Belichick, right? He goes out on his own.
Yeah, but you know how it is. Like, hey, you better quit because we're going to fire you. I don't know. We got about a minute left here. I just want to give a quick shout out to a couple 49ers. I alluded to a couple of question marks that were really exclamation points yesterday. And I thought Isaiah Oliver, who a lot of people wondered, wow, what happened to him? He was in the doghouse. He wasn't playing as much. He had a great game yesterday. And the other one, of course, Jake Moody, all the question marks and questions swirling around him in the preseason. And he's been money Moody so far. So both those guys contributed greatly to that win yesterday.
Yeah, Thomas got hurt, so Oliver had to go and play the nickel. You're right. I thought Drapes and I did a show after the Raiders exhibition game, and I thought he was done because he was bad in that game.
Yes.
But anytime that another grown man calls another grown man a stud, I always chuckle. I think that's a term of affection when it comes to the performance that Oliver had yesterday.
Yep. So onward and upward for the 49ers. Gary, thanks. If it's okay with you, I think we should try it again tomorrow.
Yeah, you know what? And let's do 4 hours tomorrow.
All right, we'll do it. We got Monday Night Football for you, the Browns and the Steelers next, right here on Sactown Sports.
It's Whitey and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
When Joe Montana retired, he was, of course, regarded as what? The greatest of all time. Many in this area